I got anything you want to address on that?
I do, we're working on.
No?
YouTube is not.
Not working?
It's gonna- okay. You have your monthly report in
Yes.
front of you. I took it through to 3/15, so it included today's claims and payroll so you have up-to-date figures.
Yes.
In your funds report, I am going to go ahead and, I guess, bring up the State Board of Accounts.
Bring it up.
Report.
Yes.
You want a copy of that in front of you?
Yes.
I'm going to start giving to the commissioners and the council any funds that are in the red, any line items that are in the red that require attention as far as transfers, additional appropriations, so that we can keep ahead of this. Unfortunately, in the State Board of Accounts audit that was just released, there were multiple funds that ended the year in the red. I, the auditor, get written up for every department that anything is in the red. Not very happy. So I want to try and work on it sooner than later. I will be getting a hold of each department each month, whatever it takes to try to keep ahead of stuff. We will probably be written up again because unfortunately it rolled over from 24 when they come and do our next audit, so there will be some repeat violations. Again, just try to stay on top of claims, make sure you keep track of your funds, and we're going to watch them a little closer in each of the meetings just so that we're not playing catch up the last month of the year.
Yeah, we do. We do need to watch it, and I know the council and Paul is aware of this, and so is the commissioner. You know, we are not loaded with tons of money in Owen County. Our budget's got to get us through the year. Now, we have emergencies, things like that happen, but, you know, we got to be respectful of our budget, watch our budget as close as we can, monitor it for the commissioners and appointed people, you know, watching their budget, and the council's watching, has to watch the budget of everybody. And I'm not going to speak for the council. This is strictly my 2 cents worth, and I know the first cent doesn't count. Making appropriations just because you run out of money, in my opinion, on some things, if it's emergency, it's understandable. If you're just spending money because you're spending money, and next thing you know, you run out and you spent your budget by the end of April or May, then you go to the council and ask for appropriation, guess what? Yes, she's right here. And the reason that we're saying is not because, you know, the council doesn't want to make appropriations with things, stuff like that. Our budget is so tight, and we don't know until after the first of the year what the tax result's going to be for us, so we're waiting on that at April 1st. We'll have some information after that. But we have some projects that we're trying to get done. You know, we got a jail project this is our 15th year on jail project. We got some things we need to get done. County highway, we're looking at some different things for the county highway, different way of doing things. Talk to Greg about stuff. You know, shorthanded, we need equipment, we need buildings to put the equipment in. We have to protect our assets that we have now. And the assets that we have at the county highway, a lot of them are sitting outside because we have no place to put them. So watching your budget, it means a lot, especially for the council saying, you know, once I'm not speaking for you, but to get another appropriation because you simply spent your budget and not paying much attention to it. I'm not saying it's everybody, but there's some budgets that we're going to be monitoring real close. You can say anything you want to.
That's why we encourage departments to do realistic budgets. I mean, like Sam said, emergencies come up, but very rarely is the emergency warrant. Lots of times I see additional appropriations come, and it's something that could be held off or whatever. By the time it comes to the council, sometimes it's already, spent, and we have our backs against the wall. I don't want to see that this year.
Well, that's the reason the auditor's office has said they're keeping check on budgets too and claims. You know, if you got $5,000 in a line item, you turn in a claim for $5,500, it's red flag. They're not paying the claim. The claim will not be paid till you figure out how you're going to get the resources for the other $500 or whatever the case may be. They can't simply keep paying the claims, then you have to go to the council and ask for the money. The claim's already been paid. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes I think we got the cart before the horse. Anybody out there got any question? Hi, Diane, how are you?
Hi.
Anybody? Yes?
I do. My registration and election is negative because I have a $77,000 budget. I came in with a realistic budget and DLGF cut it over $28,000. So I lost $28,000 in my cash line fund. And this year, we've gone negative because last year, it was under $50,000 that we got from settlement, and that's what supports
Right.
this fund. And it's slowly, I mean, back in 16, we were getting $150,000 a year between the two settlements to support this. This last, these last years, we're getting a smaller piece of the pie. So I'm coming back to the council on Monday because there is no money
Right.
there. And I haven't overspent anything. From taking the money from me and getting a smaller piece of pie, it's not supporting. And you have to have election and registration.
Things like that are different. It's separate from people just overspending their budget because they're just looking, well, we went ahead and bought this, but we don't have the money to buy it.
Right.
In your situation like that, coming to the council is understandable because, you're losing that revenue source. So the council, and don't mean to be overspeaking, the council has to find that revenue source to help fund your services. So
It is frustrating. I went back when I first came in and looked at all some of the prior year elections and looked at the additional appropriations and made sure that I had them in my budget when I came in, only to have DLGF cut it, over $28,000. And that's hard. When you have certain things, there's no extra in election and registration.
okay. I understand.
That's one of the examples. We'll go ahead. I will not hold anybody's paychecks. Unless they just drug it out and they haven't gone. I will not pay anybody like she has an employee in that fund. Again, all I ask for is a transfer, appropriation form, something that I know that they're going to the council. If the council says no, or they're not gonna work with it, or they want them to find an ulterior route, that they still will have money within their budget that they can transfer. So, and it's not, again, the grants are the hardest. These grants that are reimbursable are the ones that we're really gonna have to keep an eye on. I got wrote up because, again, this is the first audit that I've had in the 4 years that I've been here. So anything I was doing in January, I was doing in 21, 2, 3, and 4. Not entering stuff in Gateway for the annual financial report was the primary thing. So now I know what I'm supposed to be entering and doing. But again, as I said, there are a lot of things. This audit ended December 31st of 23 that have carried over into 24. So there will be repeat findings again. And again, I'm hoping that we won't have overdrawn cash balances. That's our goal for the year.
Yeah. It's a communication link. We all need to work together. We've all talked about that. That's helped so much. And I think in just the 2 months that I've been sitting up here today, the communication link is, you can always go to somebody and ask the question.
Right.
Come to us. We don't have a lot of the answers, but, we're willing to communicate with anybody. And that goes for the public as well. So communication is key. You got anything else, Sheila? You got anything on that, Paulie, on the rest? Okay. Going to the executive meeting summary. Last week, all three commissioners, Chris, met in an executive session to discuss, we did some interviews for a hiring process on several. Take his dentures out and let her go, vacant positions that we have here. So we're just going to go through them and announce our findings and who we're going to hire. I think we did well. I thought we had 2 good days of good interviews. Some of mine had to be online to do it, but overall, I think we're headed in the right direction. And, you know, word always gets out. You can't keep a secret in Owen County. Okay? Don't try. There is no secrets in Owen County. Word gets out. Okay, with that being said, I'm gonna get these. Say when you get to heaven, you ain't not gonna need no glasses or dentures. I can't wait. Building inspector / code enforcement officer. Commissioners have selected, and I think, auditor, you're gonna make these phone calls. Selected Jeffrey Stevens. Jeffrey Stevens will be the new building inspector / code enforcement officer. Building administrator. The commissioners have selected Heather Huntington. Now, she's here today. She wanted to, you know, so Heather, welcome aboard. Is Jeffrey here, Stevens? We told him they could come. So Heather will be our new building administrator. We wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
And here's how I want to address just something, because I know I'm gonna hear about it. I already have. I don't, you know, commissioners have appointed people. Okay, Greg's appointed, Chris is appointed, Jack, and so are you. But the communication needs to be with everybody, not just 3 commissioners. You have a ton of people, and Diane, Shelley's here, a lot of people you can go to, auditor's office. You got council members too, so even though you may be under guidelines of the commissioners, feel free to reach out to people. They've got people in this community with wealth of knowledge about stuff. 3 sitting commissioners, I got news for you. We don't have all the answers. And as far as the building administration part, there's a lot for me still to learn. I'm not planning on sitting up here that many years to learn everything about that. So Sheila and her husband, John Reeves, are a wealth of knowledge. Any council members, anybody that's wealth of knowledge, we're going to be reaching out to you as well to help you with this transition, okay?
Thank you.
So welcome aboard. Mapper, IT position. This position will be working out of the auditor's office. The commissioners have selected Jason Parker. I don't know if he's here today.
Yes, I think he stepped out.
He stepped out? Okay. Jason Parker will be the new mapper, is that what you call it, GIS guy? And he'll be working straight out of the auditor's office, but he'll be working with you a lot, okay? So hand in hand, everybody's gonna be hand in hand. The next, and this is the one everybody's like, when's this gonna happen? When's this gonna happen? What's happening today? Our new IT firm, the commissioners have selected the AME group. AME group. We got, tell everybody how you pronounce your first name. Orion.
Yes, sir.
Everybody said, that's not how you pronounce his name. Well, that's how I pronounce it. Orion Saft is here from the AME group. I want to thank Fourth Phase. They've been with the county, I don't know how many years. I wish them nothing but the best. I really do. I'm not gonna say anything negative, because that's not right, and that's not how we do things. You know, there's been good and bad. I've heard good and bad about Fourth Phase. AME used to be the IT for this county years ago when I was the maintenance supervisor. I know Orion and Justin, I say I was close. I've been with the AME group for many, many years. We had a rough patch years ago with AME due to some personal circumstances that occurred in this county, and guess what? That's water under the bridge. They've presented themselves well, and I'm Ryan and Justin, I was glad to hear that they were still with the AME group, to be honest with you. They kind of had to tread some rough times too. And, you know, our commitment and their commitment to us, we told all of them straight out that it's only a 1-year contract. We're not doing 3 or 4 year contracts. This Board of Commissioners will not do over a 1-year contract with anybody. If you think you have to have a contract more than 1 year, it's not gonna happen here. And there's a reason for that. Proof's in the pudding, Mr. Orion. I expect a lot out of IT. I'm sure the council, I'm sure the department heads do. I've been just influxed with all this. I'm not an IT person. I can't even turn a computer on. I don't know what tower and a monitor and a cord and plug in this for nothing. Don't ask me about it because I don't know. But the AME Group is our new IT firm. Welcome you aboard. And just right out of the gate, I need boots on the ground, like now. Fair enough to you, sir?
Can I send an email around telling everybody whatever they want?
Yes, now, well, yeah, I'm glad you said that. We'll get his information stuff, the emails will go out to everybody. Do not, right out of the gate, flood him with 537 emails. 250 is okay, no. Give them some time. It's gonna take, they gotta transition from 4th phase. He knows Jim Doring. He's going to be reaching out to Mr. Doring here this morning for different things. He's got to gain information from 4th phase. It's a transition period. Right now, if you have any problems with IT, please send them to Sheila and the commissioners. Right now. Now, as time progresses and he gets his feet wet, he's getting things under control. When he says, you know, I'll take emails from department heads. Good, because if you're sending me something about an IT problem, I'm just gonna give it to him anyway, and, because I don't know about IT. But as of right now, let's not flood him with a bunch of stuff. He has got a ton of work to do for us, and he's gonna have boots on the ground immediately, and I wish him nothing but the best. The one thing that is going to happen is we're going to have IT, I don't know if you call it a board, what do you call it?
We call it a committee.
A committee. There's people sitting out here in the audience, and there's council, not commissioner, not me. I'm gonna speak for Dave, he don't know nothing about IT either. Put a committee together, put a group. It don't have to be 20 people, put a small group together. It could be council, it could be department heads. That way you guys can facilitate the problems. Whoever is in there, you guys can figure out the group. Because we don't know about IT. So if you have a committee and you get that committee put together and figure out how it needs to be, whoever from council wants to be on, a couple people, facilitate your problems within that group. And be honest with you, leave me out of it. Unless you're not getting answers from AME, and you know, like I've sent out, you know, email, they're not responding, yada, yada, then that becomes the commissioner's problem. But I don't think we're gonna have that problem. No, I don't think so. But we're gonna be monitoring it, sir. You got anything you need to say?
No, I want to hand this off, so if you want to give that to the department heads, that's fine. You touched almost everything that I was going to say. There are some admin credentials that Jim and I work through for, you know, basic stuff. I'm more than happy to handle any emergent type stuff that comes up. You're right, maybe 10 to 14 day transition, but in that time we'll be gathering all the information that we need. We'll be getting most of our arms around everything from the network all the way to the end user devices. But in the meantime, I want to be in communication 100% with you guys, making that happen.
It's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yes, we progress. We'll get that committee put together, quarterly business reviews to have those discussions on who feels appropriate. So, yeah, we'll just appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Get the ball rolling.
That's good. Glad to have it. Glad, welcome aboard. So I don't know where you need to start.
Yeah. Yeah, some sign, I guess.
I was gonna let you work a few days first before I sign any contract.
There's 2 different tabs to sign.
You just had to have this before we get started, don't you, sir? Could've been a car salesman. And council will address this budget time, you know, see where we're at and what we're gonna be and stuff like that as well. This is 6th, correct? Yeah, 6th. Could you not do this like pro bono for, 6 months? That's what he's done. I got the attorney for 6 months.
Not pro bono then.
Man,
This is Tony Overholt, he is the
Yep.
county attorney.
Okay, oh, great, okay.
oh, that's definitely.
You wanna make a motion?
Oh, yeah, I make a motion to accept, all 4 appointed, 3 appointed, individuals and AME as IT.
I'll second.
All in favor, 2-0. Good, so department heads, we got that handled now, it's time we're moving on. Praise God, thank you, sir. Is there anything you need
Couldn't get a
before?
contract, man, I'm good, thank you.
Take 2. And we'll see you in 3 months, right? You got the contract signed, yeah. You need a check too? Get out of here. Isn't it good to laugh? Beats crying, doesn't it? Okay, old business, human resources administrator. This is going, Paulie's here, and this is kind of gonna fall in, their hands. We need to figure out, Paulie, a number, financial number, to hire an individual or a firm. How are we gonna handle it?
Do you have any, because I know you've been discussing this and looking into it, do you have like a rough idea?
Me, $50,000. And the reason I'm saying this, I don't think they need to be paid more than what some of our elected official people are being paid. Now, people say, well, you're not gonna get a human resources officer administrator for $50,000. You don't know till you try. Don't know what we're gonna get. But we can put it out there at that amount. And if nobody applies or people apply, they're like, we need this or this or this or this. And we may have to come back to the council and say, but I'm at the $50,000 mark. Attorney agrees. Mr. Risk? what's your thoughts? So Monday night, we'll address that. I may have to address you on the phone. I may probably be out of town, but that's where I'm standing. Fair enough, you, good? Man, things are going too smooth here. Jail project, Paul, you got it? What? Yes, hello there.
During the meeting with Tim Hall, one of the ideas that came up was sharing a HR person with, checking with the other counties. And if they have one that they have at part-time, if they wanted to do the same for this county.
Yes.
Where you split the fees.
Yes.
For what that was. I didn't know if anyone reached out to them.
We are working on that, Pat, as well, to see if there is that group or connection that we can make from an HR in another county that could be willing to facilitate to do some work over here in this county as well. We are doing that, yes. We just had to put a dollar amount to it because for me personally on the HR is something that this county has needed for years. And to get somebody started in HR, to take care of the insurance and, the background checks and getting all facilitated is gonna be part of the human resources administrator's job, dealing with all the insurance, with employees, new hires and stuff like that. Plus our own personnel policy, which, the county attorney, after if he decides he wants to stay after 6 months, our personnel policy has to be addressed in its entirety. So I'd like to have a human resources person on board and to address that personnel policy with this gentleman right here, so they can work together, because a lot of people's got their own interpretations of the personnel policy. Here's my interpretation of the personnel policy. It sucks. That's my interpretation. Anybody else, you agree, Paul? Okay, so that needs to be worked cohesively, and that's gonna have to be through our attorney and, with the human resource administrator, because they'll need to know what the personnel policy says, how it affects employees, appointed people and individuals, and that needs to be cleaned up. And I know it's something he's going to do, but to be honest with you, we've only overloaded his plate like a lot. But he understands that the personnel policy has to be addressed. But I want an administrator, I want somebody hired to help coordinate that with him. We've got him a office here. It's down in the health department building. We got your files moved over there, sir, that you requested. We got him some desk and stuff. I'll have to say one thing about Mr. Overholt, and I'm not patting him on the back. I don't know him that well, to be honest with you. The man has always returned every phone call, every email. We even talked on weekends. He's even talked to me when he was gone on family time. It's pretty impressive. And he's done a ton of work for this county already. And yeah, it cost us money. But I want to say this as nice as I can. I'm not politically correct. The work that he's done for what it's cost this county is second to none. I'm just telling you straight up. So we get a building administrator or a human resources person hired. They can work hand in hand with our county attorney, work hand in hand with that personnel policy. And I expect that personnel policy to, everybody can read it, to understand it. Layman's terms. Layman's terms. So does that sound fair to you, sir?
It does.
Okay. With that being said, we're gonna move to jail project. You got any update? We're waiting on tax
I don't
thing.
have any updates at this time. We're waiting until the April, either the council meeting have it, in conjunction with that, but I still feel really, strong about getting everybody at the table. So, but by April, we'll know more about what the property tax, and how that's gonna affect the county.
Yeah, the property tax is a big thing. You know, it was a $1.3 billion deficit, now it's down to 300 million, I believe, statewide. But still, at $300 million, we was set to lose somewhere between $600,000 to $700,000 when it was at the $1.3 billion deficit. But we're gonna lose some. And for a county like us, losing $50,000 for a county like us, like $1 million to some other people. So when we get that report, then that's going to go into our findings about this jail project. It's out there, it's public knowledge that just to build the jail is $24,600,000 just to build the jail. That don't include contingency, soft costs, utilities, stuff like that. So when you add that up into it, it's about $32 million.
That's too much.
Well, I'm not a rocket scientist by no means, but I think Paulie will probably agree to that. We don't have $32 million. John Parmley's here, the insurance guy. I'm glad he'll be speaking here in a little bit and give us a little update on our insurance. So it's something that, like Paulie said, once we find out the tax breakdown, we're gonna get all the players on a roundtable discussion with pizza and Coca-Cola Classic. If you want anything else, you bring it yourself. And we're going to discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly about the jail. We either gonna do something, which we gotta do something, right, Mr. Parmley? But we have to draw a line in the sand, and I think the council knows that number's gotta be drawn in the sand to what we can't spend over. Then If we know what that number is, we have to build to that number.
That's right.
That's all we can do. We're not gonna burden the taxpayers with another tax increase, or going after this, going after that. Whatever our resources are that we have, Paulie, if I'm saying wrong, tell me. We're gonna use the resources that's already at hand to build this jail. Anybody got any comment out there? You're free to speak. Raise your hand and, man, this is just too easy. I like them, days go good. Okay, next order of business. Here comes one. Everybody ready? Shooting range ordinance. Well, the radio, oh, sorry, Chris, I really wanted to keep you all day so you can go last.
I'm used to it.
No.
The only movement on the radio project is we had a meeting with IPSC. IPSC is the state organization that oversees the statewide 800 megahertz radio system.
Yes, sir.
They heard that we were doing a project, wanted to have a meeting with us. They presented to us the 911 board, and we had a person also from the radio committee that was there. They basically want us to take the 1.23 that is set aside for the radio project and build another tower for the 800 megahertz system. I think they just seen that there was money there and maybe it could be used to enhance their system, and I'm personally, I'm not in favor of that. But that's the only movement that there's been on the radio project in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Hats off to Chris. He kind of got thrown under the bus and then got back over with the bus to help lead this radio project. The council approved, and thankful for the council, when this was presented, the $1.3 million budget for this radio project. And there's a project committee, a radio project committee, is that correct, Chris? Chris is now overseeing all that. And I don't know what, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, stuff like that, Chris has had several meetings. And without Chris being there, we'd been in trouble today. Chris found out some things that he needed to find out. He did due diligence. I know that Chris worked on weekends on this and after hours on this. I don't know much about radio projects. I mean, I was a sheriff for 8 years. I know how to use a radio and stuff, but there's a whole lot more to a radio project than getting on the radio and talking about it. All right, Chris?
Yeah, I don't know much more either.
But Chris, like I said, Chris found out some things and he put a stop to the progress on this at the moment because there is a ton of unanswered questions, and we are not going to spend $1.3 million of taxpayers' money and come to find out that we got hoodwinked. So my hat's off to you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Okay, now we're up to the shooting range ordinance. Wait a minute, Sheila's here, she's got something.
So we had to commit the remainder of the ARPA funds and those to the $1.3 million. I have an annual report that is due April the 1st. Obviously, we're not gonna have final results then. I just need permission to still have those funds committed until you guys decide otherwise, or if you don't need it all, then we just have to redo the request at the federal level. But I do have to report that these are still committed, and that's due April 1st.
I'd make that report because they're still committed at this time.
Okay.
Yep,
You agree?
I agree.
Anybody else got anything for I move forward? I'll just get out of character a little bit, so. I have a good time, though. Okay, shooting range ordinance. Well, hallelujah. Praise God. We have two different issues. One, Laura, are you here?
I am.
There's Laura. This is Laura. She is the owner of Nancy's Broken Arrow. Is Will here? Okay. Anybody here? Okay. And I'll address you next, young man, but there's two separate issues, okay? Yes? Good. Well, that's your problem, sir. I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
You might say that, Doug.
So, Laura, me and you spoke on several occasions. I've also spoke to Will Dobbinspec on several occasions. I've known Will for 10 years, not telling you nothing I haven't told you on the phone. I've been friends with Will for 10 years, good, bad, and different. We've had our moments together, challenges, and different things when I was sheriff. And first time I think I've ever met you. But I appreciate you being here today. There's an issue between Nancy's Broken Arrow and a neighbor.
Home Place Campground.
Home Place Campground, which is owned by Will Dobbinspec. Nothing against, and I wish Will was here, and I'm not bad-mouthing Will at all. I'm not bad nobody. I spoke to the county attorney. This is what he does for us and gets paid for. There's, was ordinances put in place that pertain to shooting ranges. I want to back up just a minute. There's nobody sitting in this room that doesn't want everybody in this county to be safe. Is that correct? We all want everybody to be safe. I grew up in the country, loving the country. I can't wait to find me a place to move in the country. If anybody's got any property for sale out in the country, please let me know. I gotta go. I've lived in town for like 10 years now, and I'm had enough. But I want everybody, people moved to Owen County because of the freedom. You know, when I was sheriff, people called, oh, the neighbor's dogs are barking. Okay, got to get them to stop. I've never got a dog to start barking yet. It's just nature, part of living in Owen County. The cows are mooing. Chickens are clucking. My question's always been, why did you move to the country if you didn't want to hear country sounds? Well, they're driving their four-wheelers across the street, you know, over in their yard, and they're having races in their yard. Hallelujah. That's their yard, you know. It's the same with people shooting in their backyards and shooting at tin cans or whatever. When I was a sheriff, I went out on, and some of the deputies went out on calls, people shooting and neighbors was complaining. We went out, checked out the situation, because that's what we're supposed to do. There's state law, there's codes for how you're supposed to do things. Right, Jim?
Yes, sir.
I'm not talking about shooting ranges. I'm talking about individual people doing stuff that they want to do in their backyard. Most people we talk to, you know, hey, you need to shoot this direction because you're burned this way, you're not shooting over here, or you need a better backstop or something like that. 98% of the people complied to it because nobody wants somebody hurt. Nobody does. And it worked out well, you know. Sycamore Valley Gun Club. Not one time in 8 years of my service did I ever have to go to Sycamore Valley Gun Club and tell them, guys, something's wrong here. Did I, sir? Ever? Never. Not one complaint. Never had a complaint from them. But the issue that we have with Laura and the campground is a civil matter. That's it. I don't understand people want us to establish ordinances to protect the safety of our individuals. State codes and guidelines are already in place. I spoke to Chief Deputy Matt Miller yesterday. We went through the times that officers had been out to Laura's place. DNR. Spoke to those people, so I knew what halfway I was talking about when I got here today. And Kathy, I know this is different from your thing, so And Chief Deputy told me, he said, you know, Sam, there's codes, state law already, it implies for criminal mischief, criminal trespass, criminal recklessness. It's already on the books. The commissioners don't need to reinvent the wheel.
That's right.
The commissioners will not reinvent the wheel. I don't mean to upset nobody. I hope everybody gets to stay friends with me on the decisions that we make. But Commissioner Risk, I believe, asked Mr. Dobbin Speck, and I like Will, he's been my friend. Why haven't you been to court with her? He hasn't been to court with her. I know he's upset. He's got some complaints when you talk to him, when I talk to him, just like you, are legitimate concerns because of what he's telling me. Yeah, I mean, on your side, you can say no, but you have to understand, when I'm talking to an individual and Mr. Zimmerman tells me about a complaint, I take his word for it till we go different direction, find out something different. But through this all being said, Laura, and Mr. Dobbin Speck, if he happens to be listening, I spoke with Mr. Attorney. Is that what you told me?
I'll answer that.
Sure, Mr. Attorney. It's a civil matter. Cut and dry. I'm not going to force any ordinance. We're not going to adopt any new ordinance to oppose people of doing things that they want to do when state guidelines and codes are already in effect for this particular issue. If Will has an issue with Nancy's broken arrow, I said this in a public meeting, and I'm going to say it now that you're here, and Paulie witness to this. I asked Mr. Dobbin Speck if he would meet with all of us, and he said he would. I asked Laura if she would meet, she said she would. Now, Will's not here today, but I'm sure I'll be talking to him this afternoon. I don't think there's nothing that two people can't get worked out if they choose to work it out. That's a choice. People make a choice where they want to make things better or if they just want it to be a pain and not work things out. Nancy's Broken Arrow's been in business for 30 years. Will's had the campground up here for I don't know, a long time, 10 years. But there for a while, you guys everything was good, and we won't get into what transpired. Personal relationships that get broken, commitments between friends, neighbors, is always broke down because of one issue or another. But I was always taught to bring stuff to the table, like us in the council. We don't always agree, but we talk about it. Bring it to the table to see if we can get anything worked out. That's what I'd like to see happen with the campground and with Nancy's Broken Arrow. I don't need to be a mediator, but I'd be willing to go out there, and I'm sure Commissioner Risk would go as well, and anybody else, to see, as neighbors, to go out to Nancy's Broken Arrow and with Will and the neighbors to find out exactly what the problems are. You willing to do that?
I told you yes.
Yes, thank you.
I'm not so sure about Will after the last threats, but
Right.
I'm gonna talk to my attorney about that.
Sure. That's that's just a step I would initiate as not as a commissioner, but as a caring person.
Sure.
Now, if that works out, great, and we can meet and maybe resolve whatever problems there is, so be it. Other than that, we'll have to take you to court. We're not going to impose any ordinance against Nancy's Broken Arrow. We're not going to impose any ordinance against the shooting range people. Hang on, Kathy. Kathy's waiting. Me and Kathy go back a long way. We are not going to establish anything new, ordinance-wise, when state statute already tells us how to operate. If the deputies, DNR goes out and finds something, they write a report, they send that report to the prosecutor. Officers do not file charges. Officers only file the reports. People have a misunderstanding. Well, I want you to charge these people. It don't work that way. When you file a report as an officer, it goes to the prosecutor. Prosecutor determines whether charges are filed or not the officer. But the officers that went out to your location, the DNR, found nothing. So if they found nothing, out of good conscience, they followed the law, they made their decision. I'm not gonna supersede their authority. As a commissioner, I don't need to overstep my bounds with what the sheriff's doing. That's wrong. He's got his own guidelines to go by. So the commissioners will not impose an ordinance against Nancy's Broken Arrow, against the Sycamore Valley Gun Club. Now, Kathy Wise is here, and we've been friends for how many years? Long time.
Yeah.
And we're still gonna be friends. Kathy came to me when the COVID hit, and I try not to cry. It's personal. This one, God love you, Kathy. She came to me personally and took care of business for us and our deputies when the COVID hit. And I want to thank you for that. She showed up personally and took care of business and extended an arm of faith and love and comfort that she got from God himself. And she took care of the sheriff's deputies. I'll never forget that. I'm not going to forget it. I highly commend you for what you did. I love you for it. I'm just telling you straight up. With that being said, Kathy was also involved with the precision gun range fiasco. And that's what it is. It was a fiasco, to say the least. She lived south of the range. It was just a mess, Kathy. But I won't let you speak because I know you got some things you would like to address with this.
I would. Thank you, first of all, for allowing the public to speak at the meetings. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Like you said, we were one of the 3 homes who got hit with, they like to say projectiles that left the gun range. 4 families were involved. My concern is, we had decided when this all started that we were not going to get involved. We spent 3 months less of 5 years dealing with the gun range, so it's like, we're done. We're in our mid-70s, done. The last meeting, we watched it online, it felt like there was a little posturing and words that were a little misleading. So, who but people who've been involved with issues with the gun range should come. I talked with Polly to be upfront with everybody,
Sure.
and with Sam. I don't have anything against the Sycamore Valley Gun Range. We used to live out at New Hope, never heard anything bad about them, ever. I have no issue with gun ranges. When I was younger, I went deer hunting, I went squirrel hunting, my husband was in the military, we have weapons in our home. So I'm not anti-Second Amendment, I'm not anti-gun ranges, I'm not anti-people target practicing. The issue is that if something happens in our situation, I can tell you that the local police came out, the state police came out, did an investigation, said it was them, that nobody could do anything. This was said to us twice. There's nothing we can do because there are no laws governing gun ranges. You can have 1,000 bullet holes in your house, projectiles, they like to say, and there's nothing we can do unless they hit somebody or an animal. There's laws against neighbors doing it, but not businesses. I like to equate it to drinking. I said this with Polly. If someone chooses to drink or not drink, people have strong opinions on whether you should or shouldn't. Same way with owning guns. But if you drink, you know you shouldn't drive after you have had a couple drinks or more. People still choose to do that, but there's laws that if you do it, there's repercussions for your actions. With gun ranges, there are no laws, so there's nothing the police can do. Businesses shouldn't be open to whatever they want to do and no repercussions. When I looked up Indiana laws, it says it's to the local governments to put restrictions down. The NRA originally was very good, and they have a booklet that was mentioned last time. Those are suggestions. There's no rules or regulations to go by. There's no inspections. So if there's issues, it's people like us, we can't take them to court like was mentioned last time for trespassing. The prosecutor wouldn't do anything because there are no laws. The county wouldn't do anything, in my opinion, out of fear. So it cost us all thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to deal with this situation. I think there needs to be some type of laws to have some teeth, so if it happens again, good people like the Sycamore Valley Gun Ranch are doing it right, but there are those, I don't know, let's say 2% who won't, and we dealt with that. So can we learn from that and come together and do something for protection? The county says it wants public safety, I believe that. Well, what happens when you guys get off the board? If someone else comes on, they don't care and make fear-based decisions again, what do we do?
I agree. Makes perfect sense. Jim, would either one of you guys like to?
Yeah, I'll address that. So I'm a member of a gun club. I'm also a former sheriff's deputy, police officer, and I practiced, litigated as an attorney for 35 years down in Vincent.
What's your name, sir?
Matt Parker, I'm the one that.
I spoke to you, yes,
Yeah,
okay.
I did this when we had the December meeting. I'm also the author of that outline that Jim gave you.
Yes.
And so I just want to address that because when I saw this law, I'm a retired lawyer. My license is on retired status, so I'm not giving legal advice, Mr. Overholt.
Let her rip, sir, let her rip.
I'm here speaking for myself. But what you said is not true. First of all, there's criminal statutes in Indiana for criminal recklessness. You already mentioned it. It's a felony telling people that allow projectiles to leave their property. In my view, that's a felony in Indiana, criminal recklessness. It says if you're using a deadly weapon and you create a hazard like that, that you can be charged with a felony. Now, you were absolutely correct, sir, that the county prosecutor has the final authority on whether to file those charges or not the police. But there is something you can do as a body because there is a nuisance statute in Indiana, and nuisance, as Mr. Overholt will tell you, is has a very broad definition. It's anything that's injurious to the person or offensive to the senses. Under the nuisance statute in Indiana, downrange people can file a civil suit against the person they're claiming is creating a nuisance and getting shot with a bullet. And I'll say this, I am also a certified chief range safety officer. There are standards that the NRA publishes. I came here to talk about those a little bit today, but I think that's going to be necessary. The nuisance statute in Indiana provides that in addition to the downrange owner filing suit, the county can direct the county attorney to file suit. If the person that's causing the nuisance, creating the nuisance, asserts a frivolous claim, the county files suit, asserts a frivolous defense, the county can recoup their attorney fees. So there are things that are on the books, and that's one of the things I was coming here to talk about today. Your ordinance is unnecessary. I think Mr. Overholt's already told you that, because there are things affected people can do personally. They can go to the prosecutor and talk to the prosecutor about filing charges. I'd be a little concerned about that if I was letting projectiles off my property. Or the county can also file suit under the nuisance statute. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you.
What I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that being said, and I'm sure Mr. Attorney Overhaul heard that, and I'm sure he'll be looking into this as well. And Kathy, I appreciate where you're coming from. And I don't want to bring up stuff that happened in the past, because past is in the past. There was a whole lot of things that went wrong with the precision gun range. A multitude of things that went wrong with that gun range that affected not only the lives of Kathy and the other two people, but affected the lives of the people here in Owen County. I could sit here and just blame, but that gets us nowhere. What we need to do is find out a course of action. And you mentioned the nuisance ordinance. Go ahead, sir.
Well, and I just add, I spoke to Mr. Welper, your attorney, the other day, and he gave me a thumbnail sketch of the problems that were there. And as you suggested, what I think is a great idea, is they tried to work with the gun range to make that place safe, which frankly, in my training from the NRA, it should never have been there in the first place, but that's neither here nor there. You could have made it safe. They tried to work with and made it safe and were rebuffed. And so that's the problem. You know, if you're issues like that give all shooters a bad name, and I can assure you that's not what we want. We are to the nth degree about safety. And so I sympathize with people that are getting projectiles shot at them to the nth degree. But I think that's an excellent idea. Work with the folks and see if there's a way to work this out without. The last place, I'm sure Mr. Overholt will tell you, the last place you want to end up is in court.
Yeah, I've been there enough in my past, so.
Yeah, me too.
But and regardless, and what Kathy and them went through was terrible. I know, personally. What we're gonna do is we're gonna move forward in a positive way. You've got a lot of good information, sir. He's a wealth of knowledge. Jim's here. He's a wealth of knowledge. What I'd like to see between the people that know. I was a sheriff, I understand the state statutes and laws and stuff like that. But I agree with Kathy that Sycamore Valley Gun Club has probably got one of the best policies and procedures in place of any gun club. Safety, training, education, A to Z. I think we could utilize their policies and procedures because as of right now, and I think they could be utilized even to the same token, Nancy's broken arrow. Safety is a must for everybody. Laura agreed to that. I talked to her yesterday for a long time. She wants nobody hurt. And moving forward, we need to make sure that if any other gun range, bow and arrow place wants to open, that they have to go through step A all the way through Z. They got to dot the I's, cross the T's. They got to have policies and procedures in place, safety guidelines, ordinance, stuff like that. It's got to be vetted through Mr. Overholt, along with looking at some of the policies and procedures of the Sycamore Valley Gun Club, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean, the policies we follow are NRA policies, and I can just tell you, if we had a neighbor that was saying your shots are hitting our house, we wouldn't be shooting there until it was fixed. So we don't operate that way.
But that is the things that need to be put in place. They're in place for Sycamore Valley Gun Club. But as a sitting board of commissioners, we need to make sure that those are in place if Johnny wants to open up a shooting range. Now, I addressed this issue yesterday with Chief Deputy Miller. And love the guy, he's like a son to me. They're getting ready, county owns some property out by the road, it's old landfill property, okay? IDEM deemed it okay for us to open up a shooting range so the county officers have a place to go qualify. Sounds good, doesn't it? All hunky-dory, let's just go out there and start working. Well, it don't work that way. So I had to make a couple phone calls yesterday. We've got to back up now a little bit, like a lot. Because as commissioners, and even at sheriff, we're no different than any other gun range opening up or shooting club. We have to follow the same procedures, guidelines for the sheriff's office as anybody else is gonna have to follow. So before we go out there and start dozing and building and stuff like that, we need to make sure that we've dotted our i's, crossed our t's, that Mr. Overholt has gave his signature of approval on it to make sure it's safe, not only for the sheriff's deputies, but for the property owners that are around them. It has to be done before we do anything. And I talked to the chief and he said, okay, because they was getting ready to go out there and get, start doing some dozing work and stuff like that. I want to make sure, as county commissioner, and Dave will back me on this, that if we can't not install our own shooting range for our deputies under the provisions and policies and procedures and guidelines that need to be done, what good are we? I have no right to tell anybody anything else. Yes, sir.
Forward-looking, wouldn't some of that be covered under the UDO? There are provisions for shooting facilities and zoning.
Okay.
And I'm not making a statement, I'm asking a question, how that would shake out.
Well, let's talk about the UDO thing, which is that, there's my burr under my side.
Yeah, sorry.
You just had to bring that up, didn't you?
I know you have to stay.
You owe me no. I want to clarify something to the public right now, good, bad, and ugly. There's good things that's listed in the UDO. It's got some credibility for Owen County. We got ordinances right now we can't enforce. Before we adopt anything else into this county, we're going to make sure that we can handle the ordinances that we have. Because we have several right now that are not enforced, not because we don't want to enforce them, it's the way they're written. Okay, the UDO it was a 240-some page report. It has some good stuff in it, and there's a lot of stuff in there. It don't pertain to Owen County. It doesn't. I know Marcy's here, and I love her. She's just been one of my best friends and always will be. But there's things in the UDO that doesn't exist for Owen County. A lot of it was copy and paste from other counties in order to give direction for Owen County. We have enough talented people in Owen County right now, we can draft up our own ordinances for the people of Owen County. That's my take. Not saying that the UDO didn't have some good stuff in it, because it does. If we need to pull some stuff out of the UDO to attach to county ordinances, hallelujah. I think there's a couple committees working on that right now. It's not going over very well from the last report I got, but there's two committees looking into that. I told them, pull the stuff out that pertains to Owen County and let's move on with it. If it don't pertain to Owen County, put it off to the side and it's something we'll deal with a later issue. But I understand what you're talking about, Jim. I just want to make sure that we, as commissioners, don't overstep our bounds by adding ordinances that hamstrings people from doing what they want to do. Nothing against what Kathy's saying, but in the future, we need to make sure that we have teeth in it as commissioners, that when the sheriff's office wants to open up their range, it's covered from A to Z. The I's been dotted, T's been crossed, safety's there, training's there, policies, procedures, and I'm going to pat Sycamore Valley Gun Club on the back again. Now, you owe me, I like to have a big cinnamon roll. They have some of the best policies and procedures in place for safety and for training. I think the county could utilize some of their policies and procedures to proceed if somebody else wants to open up a gun range, including the sheriff's office. Does that make sense? Does it make sense, Kathy? Is it, Jim?
Yes, sir, and I'll add to that, the policies work because they're culturally accepted and enforced. The policy itself is a line on paper. What happens is where the rubber hits the road, where the lead hits the burn, in this case. If you have a reckless individual, that paper doesn't do you squat for good. It takes a culture of adherence to safe practices.
And I want to speak on that. That's the reason I just said that we have ordinances we don't enforce. What good's the ordinance? Don't write an ordinance you can't enforce. It's just as good, it's no more better than the paper that's wrote on.
That's right.
So we're going to go through our ordinances and revamp some of our ordinances. I know a lot of them has been redone, and I'm thankful for that. But, you know, we don't need to reinvent the wheel here. We need to utilize the policies and procedures that are at hand, the state codes that are at hand. And I know that Mr. Overholt, the county attorney, is going to be looking into a lot of this, Kathy, as we move forward. We're not going to let anybody open up anything, do anything around here until it absolutely passes guidelines that has to pass. Does everybody agree with that out there? Any problems? So as of this morning, did that answer your questions, Kathy? Does it help you? I want you to know I'm on your side.
You know, honestly, I'll wait and see, I hear words, see if there's.
Absolutely.
Follows through.
Sure.
Do you have a question?
Yes. Oh.
Would it be possible for the policies and procedures of the Sycamore Gun Club to be shared with the two committees that are working on the UDO draft?
Yeah, I think I'd ask you, sir,
I am a representative of the body. Let me run that past the membership. We have a meeting soon.
yeah, I'd seen your email. You got a meeting coming up here.
Yes, sir. And I'll email you with their decision on that, but
Thank you.
I would anticipate they would agree, but I want to let them make the decision.
Let's find out, and that'll help answer your question. Yes?
I have a question. How often does the sheriff's department qualify? They do that monthly,
No, twice a year.
twice a year?
But the issue that we had, you know, is that they need to qualify. I'm not the sheriff, so I'm not gonna speak for them, but there's times then guys need to go out there, maybe 2 or 3 of them, want to do some target practicing, want to get a little, and that's what they're wanting to do.
How many deputies they have there?
16 deputy wise. John, Mr. Insurance Company man, who's gonna, see that stack of paperwork? That is a bill. It's an invoice.
That's correct.
Deer can't jump over it. That's how big it is.
Should have had that answer like.
Yes, I mean,
20.
there's 20 altogether.
I have 20.
I think 20 is right, kind of the courthouse employees and stuff, but Marcy, that's a good question. So, does anybody else have any questions? We are not, I gotta put these back on.
Can I ask?
You can go right ahead and ask anything you want to.
So being that I know that they're gonna be moving forward as quick as possible with redoing everything out there, and that you have a new planning director, your current ordinance doesn't meet the standards that are needed, but you don't wanna stop anybody from applying. If an application is submitted, can it come directly to the commissioners and the attorney and not go through the planning and zoning board process? Because your current ordinance does not address that if you're going by your planning and zoning ordinance. It needs to be more technical, as everybody has agreed.
I agree with that.
I don't want Heather getting
I don't want her to get caught in the middle of
caught
something.
in the middle of something, so can anything gun shooting range related out there come directly to the commission?
I agree with that at this time. Yeah. Anybody got any questions? Yes.
So we've been through several revisions of the ordinance. Is one currently in effect? Is that my understanding?
The ordinance as in effect is ordinance number 2025-003. That ordinance is being repealed.
Okay.
There's state statutes, state guidelines already in place. We are falling back, I don't know if that's quite the word you want to say. Ordinance number 2025-003 that was adopted last year There's been another ordinance that was presented a meeting or so ago that has not been adopted. That our ordinance will not be adopted. The ordinance that is in place, number 2025-003, has been repealed. That's my motion. But Dave's got his, it's up to him, you know, he's got to make a decision too.
I'll second that.
All in favor, 2-0. With that being said, there's always with that being said part. This doesn't give anybody free rein and rule to go out and do as you see fit, okay? Because there's still state guidelines and codes in place already for this to happen. And Laura, hi Jack, how are you, buddy? I'll be reaching out to you and to Will, and hopefully we can all meet. I would love that, to see if he's willing to do that. I think that would be the very first step. If not, I will say this as one commissioner. He has a decision to make, and that'll be his decision whether he wants to proceed with court proceedings or get it worked out however, because it was worked out before. And I think it needs to be worked out again for the benefit of the community because it's been in business for 30 years. I do understand his concerns. Yeah, I want you to understand that. If he, I mean, his concerns, bring them to me. I have to look at, you know, and I'm cautious with everybody's concerns. But as Kathy will tell you, safety is going to be our #1 priority moving forward from this day on.
Always has been our priority.
Yes.
Safety has always been our priority. I mean, we have families with children coming. We've never, in 30 plus years, we've never had any injuries related to how we've set up the course ever.
How many times did you see me when I was the sheriff? And how many times did my deputies come?
They come quite a bit.
No, wait a minute. Did we? I mean, for problems, for issues.
Zero until
Until this last year.
Okay. How many times did I go to Sycamore Valley Gun Club in 8 years? My deputies, 0.
You are welcome.
right? Sure.
Is food available?
It can be.
Hey, you let me know when the food's there, sir. I'll show up. Right. You see what I'm saying? I didn't go there in 8 years. I didn't come up there. I had no complaints and stuff like that in 8 years. So, and once again, I am not bad-mouthing Mr. Dobbins. Been friends with him for 10 years. But I think there's an issue that needs to be, civil issue that needs to be worked out amongst neighbors and friends and cohorts because it brings a lot of business into the county. Okay. All right. You getting up? You ain't leaving yet, are you? You're 6 months in. Okay.
Move around.
Okay, new business. Folks, this here comes the fun part. Ready, Marcy?
All right.
All right.
This here's a good one. Yeah.
Please,
Thank
Commissioner, can I give the audience a little background on
Yep.
video?
Thank you, Kathy.
All right, so last August, Bill Purcell comes into the Chamber of Commerce and he tells me the story. He tells me that at one point, Marcy, did you know that they threw chickens off the courthouse roof? And I'm like, there's no way, Bill. There is no way that they would throw real live chickens off the courthouse roof. So I said, well, you know what, I'm gonna check that out. So I contacted Tony Neff, our county historian. And lo and behold, within 48 hours, Tony had this article right here from 1940 saying poultry fly to be held next week. Not only did Owen County do this once, they did it twice. And the point of that being is that they had several businessmen in town that thought this would be a great idea to bring more business downtown for the holidays. And you could catch a chicken or a duck, and if you caught one, you got to take it to Babs, and they would dress it for you for your holiday burger. And that was a way to bring more business into downtown. And they even got like, it's kind of funny, they say, the ducks and chickens have rights to fly away, blah, 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 that kind of stuff on there. Got me thinking, I'm gonna preface this for the camera. No live chickens, okay? That's not what I'm thinking, okay? But it did get me thinking. I would like to do a history reenactment for the chamber, because one of those individuals that threw those chickens off the courthouse roof was Chester Babs. And so I started talking to Rob about this and Tony Clements, and they were like, well, this would be something we can get behind, okay? So at any rate, I'm here today to officially request if it would be all possible on September 6th for the chamber to hold the Chamber Chester's Chicken Chuck. Now, what that would entail, okay, would be chucking chickens off the roof of the courthouse, rubber chickens or stuffed chickens, okay? And you'd have to sign up with your wingman, okay? But I'll tell you what, we've already got confirmation that Babs Super Value is getting behind this. And the winner of the chicken chuck, get this, will get a year's supply of Babs fried chicken. Okay? And that's the response I usually get right there, okay? Not only that, but Tony has already talked to like Purdue and Better Ball, and they've got other prizes they want to give away. It should be a really fun day. Regardless, I do have the article if you want it. But that is my request.
What day was this going to fun event going to happen?
September 6th, and it would be from 10 to noon, 2 hours.
10 to noon, that's a Saturday, I'm assuming.
It is?
A chicken chucking. Folks, it don't get no better than that.
That's right.
And you can win free chicken
For a year.
Now, with that, of course, you know me, I like food. The commissioners, can we put our name in the hat to win
No,
too?
you can, but there's also going to be a part of that. We're going to do a charity chicken chuck. You can
Charity
sign up
chicken.
with someone else to catch a chicken.
Yeah.
And the community foundation's already said that they will be giving funds to different charities at that time.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
A chicken chucking.
I'm
Man, I've heard it all now.
I'm good with a chicken.
Go ahead. Ain't good. I'll second that chicken chucking contest.
Awesome. Woo! I love it.
I expect everybody out in the audience to be there at
Yeah,
this
everybody
chicken
got to be
chucking
there.
contest. Where's it gonna be? Here at the courthouse lawn?
We're courthouse line, like throw them off the south side.
This is awesome.
Yeah. All right, so we're good.
September 6th. Now, we got this renovation going on at the courthouse. So, we'll make sure somebody gets up there and chucks chickens.
So, I thought about that, okay? I did ask the fire department ahead of time, because I know that could be having renovation up there. I know they are very familiar, because they put the lights for Christmas. So, just in case that's still going, that way you don't have any just random public up there. The fire department said they would be willing to chuck the chickens.
Well, you got it covered then.
That's good. Fire department chuck chicken chuckers. Hey, you know what? I think this is, it's events like this that brings the community together.
Yeah.
And we need to have fun in this community, in this county, and get back to having some good times. I'm all about the chicken chucking. I'd like to see you show up for that service.
Not on the payroll, but just to show up.
All right, chicken chucking.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Palmer? Thank you.
30, like, what, 5 minutes?
I have to I gotta bring Mr. Palmley. He is our insurance man, and he comes bearing a great big invoice.
All good news.
All good news?
I think so. Could be worse.
Have a cookie then. You guys gonna have to eat these cookies. My wife baked these things and nobody's getting any
I'll
of them.
take them cookies right home.
You like cookies?
Oh, you know I like.
Do you like cookies? Have you had one yet? Will you have
Got
one?
a good cookie.
I will get one before I leave.
I didn't have my hands in them. Everybody's thinking, that's Sandman, that's Sandman.
Enough to share. All right, so in front of you is a high-level summary, if you will, of your insurance. And Sam, you and I had a brief discussion, right?
Yes, sir.
So in here, and on the first page, I'll kind of run through a few things here. So if you look on the left side there, the blue, that's your expiring premium. On the next one in that ugly yellow that we have is the renewal premium. One thing to bring to your mind, you go into the workers' comp section down there, you'll see we have a pretty good reduction there. We were able to go back to IPEP, and for those of you who have been around a while, we had IPEP. We had some, I'll just call them fortunate situations to where IPEP actually dropped us. We've worked hard, a lot of kudos to department heads and such, and we'll talk a little bit about loss ratio real fast here in a minute, but it got us in a better position, and IPEP has stepped back up to take us back. I think that is a fantastic for the county. Their services that they offer are second to none. They're at 63 of the counties in the state. We do a lot of training modules with them. I'll not get too deep into that, but IPEP is a great partner there. you see in the middle there where it says this cyber, and that is blank. Emailed back and forth with you, unless Mr. Attorney, I love the name, tells me anything different. We don't have the renewal app yet, we're still working on that. And so I got a 30-day extension out of our cyber carrier because I knew this transaction, this change was coming with IT directors. So we really need to get that questionnaire done in the next couple of weeks. So, and I'm happy to work directly to, already forgot his name, the IT folks, if you want me to do that too.
Sure.
So I'll leave that kind of, we can work that out.
We'll work that out.
Okay, I'm happy to do that. But anyway, you go down through and you add up everything, and as it sits right here, I got some changes to make, but we have a 9.5% increase year over year. You go down the page, you see budget numbers are up, year over year, receipts are up. This all equates into how we price the insurance. You go to the next page, that shows you, breaks down some of the coverages. And I want you to flip one more page. So you get to my third one that looks like this. Mine has pretty highlights, yours doesn't. This here shows you how we rate the exposures. And so we base it off a number of employees, officers, like we talked about, jailers, reserve deputies, miles, road miles, all that factors in. You go down to where it says automobile. Sam, you and I had this discussion.
Yes.
So the renewal is rated off of a 13% increase in vehicles. I do not believe that to be true. Sheila was kind enough to give me the name that I couldn't remember. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going straight down there to go through that list to clear it up. I have found already one vehicle yesterday, but I think we're, that in and of itself could be $15,000 to $20,000 in savings.
Yeah, because that's a significant increase in automobiles or vehicles.
And I don't think we have it.
Yeah.
I think what we have is things have been added, traded, whatever, and we didn't get, maybe the trade didn't get taken off. I'm just gonna go figure out the list and then get it fixed.
Okay, thank you.
But as it sits here, that 9.5% increase, then you go down there, the next one is auto physical damage. This is how you rate. This is something we can't fix a lot, but we sort of can fix. But if you buy take an ambulance for example, you had a 10-year-old ambulance, and maybe it was $105,000 then, and you buy a new one today and they're $170,000. We're going to have more value to insure in vehicles.
Correct.
Payroll, we increased by 4%. That's based off of the last audit, and an increase, we'll kind of watch through that. So some of these other pages that I'm going to hit quickly because you've got a big agenda, but and then I'll circle back. The next two pages that look like this right here, this is your statement of values. This is going to need to be signed, but you can review it. I just need it in the next week if I could get it. But this shows you all the locations that we have listed. On the left side, you'll see that's the addresses. Well, back up, location name and addresses. And then you go over on the right side and it shows you building values, personal property, and how we have that broken down. Yes, sir?
I got a question.
Wait on me.
It shows the sheriff's buildings and yada yada, and then it shows county highway extension office. Then you go all the way to the right. Talks about flood insurance. Correct? It says
Yes,
flood all the way.
yes, okay, I'm
That's-
following you.
Okay,
Yep.
but
Is everything in a flood? Is that it? Everything's in a flood zone?
and the reason that I'm asking this, is $2,500 for,
2.5 million.
why is that, why are they all the same? Because it is my understanding that the jail, current jail sitting issue in the storage units now is in, I'm gonna have a meeting with DNR, that this is in the high-level flood zone now. And if it's in the high-level flood zone, why is the price the same? Does that make any sense?
Sort of, but yes, I think I know what you mean.
Sort of is good enough for me.
Yeah, sort of. I'll sort through, I can work through sort of. So that is, there is a dollar amount of $2.5 million in coverage per location. And based on the flood zone, then we back into what the deductible would be. So 50, 100, 250,
Okay.
so forth. You can buy down deductibles if you want. That's the right way to say it. You can buy flood insurance through the NFIP. And the maps will be, I'm not exactly sure where they're at here, are changing. And so that does impact that.
Okay.
Does that answer your
That's-
question?
Go ahead, sir.
Are the maps under review now?
I think so, but that kind of came back to that one jail meeting we were at, and there was a lady here that was talking about there was a change, and it was gonna impact them. I've not seen the 25 maps,
Okay.
but there was a change in Spencer, and in and around 46, it kind of got dicey in there.
Right, and when I'm talking about a review of the maps, I'm talking about at the federal level. A review of the maps by FEMA. Is that happening? Do you know?
I thought it was, but
Okay.
that, I'm not
Okay.
incredibly well versed on that.
I'm not either, I'm just asking.
But I have a system that I can go in to a FEMA map and pull and see, and I can shadow it, right, to look year
Sure.
over year. So I will do that and
I
send that.
appreciate that.
Okay, hang on,
But
John.
I gotta write that down. Go
Greg,
ahead.
do you have any, don't you get updates from FEMA on map, on floodplain stuff? Or is that, am I wrong?
No, well, I used to get it through the building department, but yes, because I have to follow that.
Okay. Jack, do you have any, and I know your emergency management stuff, but do you have any updates or knowledge about the flood maps changing here in Owen County?
I attended that seminar with Suzanne and the other Du Bois last year, and there was an indication that the flood maps were going to be updated, and if my memory serves me correctly, they were going to move certain things down that part of town from the flood fringe to the flood plain.
Okay,
That's what
but we haven't,
that's what I remember.
but I haven't got any updates on that's been happening yet, or how far, I guess my question is, and I understand or heard that that's gonna be like some years down the road. Because and the reason I'm bringing it up, and we'll go back to the jail project, because we bought the storage unit property to build the jail, that's where we bought the property for. Then, we're looking at another piece of property to build a jail, a bigger jail, and understand all that. So when I called DNR and I asked them about, because we was told in the meeting here that we can't build there because it's gonna be in the floodplain. So when I called DNR, they said, wrong. It's the flood fringe now. Across the street is in the floodplain, but they build across the street. And I said, well, how can they build across the street if we can't build here? And they said, well, it's pretty simple, you just have to, you gotta do this, this, and this in order to build on. And I said, well, can we build a jail here at this property? And they said, well, absolutely, as long as you're not putting a jail in the ground. So my concern was that the maps that we was told had already changed, they haven't changed yet. And then when I talked to the gentleman from DNR, and he said, well, that could be some years down the road. But now if we get biblical flooding for 40, then it don't make a difference where you live or where you build, it's gonna flood. So I didn't know if you'd heard any more about the updates, if that is going to be in the actual flood zone, or if it's gonna stay in the flood fringe for the next 5 or 6 years. I didn't know if anybody had any updates on that.
Nobody's building an ark that I've seen, and that gets wet under a flash situation.
Yeah,
The other side of the street gets wet under a river flood situation.
yeah, okay, thank you.
So I will go in and pull storage unit location, jail location, pull the flood map and all the stuff that goes with it, and I'll share it with you, then you can have it.
I just want it for revenue purposes for us, I'm not so much we're gonna build a jail down there now, I think we're looking at another piece of property. But on our revenue side of it, it's an asset. If we build a jail at the quarry and we decide that this is, property is something that we wanna get rid of,
Yeah.
because it's an asset to us, we're gonna need to know if whether it's in flood fringe, floodplain, it's gonna be overflowed and stuff. That's
So
the reason I was
we have a
asking.
lady that works for us. I don't pretend to be an expert in flood because, well, I'm not. And so,
That's
but we have
good.
this lady that just knows it frontwards and backwards. And so I will call Tammy and we'll pull those stuff and I'll share all that
Thank
with
you.
you. And then I'll see if there's any updates in FEMA's site that tells us anything that might be coming. I don't know, but I'll find out.
Greg?
I just might be confused in what the highway department's not, doesn't have flood insurance, does it? Because the everything we have close to theirs, and I have those back, is back.
Yeah, that's on here. It's
So
saying
the
flood.
flood that we have does include all properties in or out of zone.
Okay.
But it's just kind of part of it.
Yeah,
And we don't have additional flood.
We do have a wetland, but it's classified as backwater and flood.
Yeah. But I can pull those locations and I'll see what FEMA said and I'll just share it all with you. I don't.
If you'd share it with the attorney and then he'll get back.
My knowledge of the change in the flood zone came from that meeting that was in this room.
Yes.
That was on that wall, but I don't remember who talked about that. It was a sheet. That's
Okay.
as much as I remember.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
The next 2 pages are the auto list. I wanted you to see those. I'm gonna talk about those. You're welcome to go through them, but I'm gonna figure that out and I'll change that list and send back to you.
Sure.
The next page is an internal. I started using this for myself and I like it. I think it's great, so I share it. This shows you all of the work comp audits that have been done since 2020. And down at the bottom is the most important piece, that's your experience mod. And if you will look, we are trending in the right direction. And that is based on how an experience mod is calculated, is based off of the claims that you had in the 3 previous years, not counting the year that just ended. And it's a number of claims versus dollar you paid in. It's an incredibly long formula. And then the 2 kinds of claims on work comp. There's medical only. So those are the folks that have a medical injury, come back to work, and they don't have any lost time or disability or anything like that. And then there's what they call indemnity claims. So medical only claims are calculated at 70%. If they're an indemnity, they go in at 100%. That's why you'll hear us talk about the importance of return to work and trying to get people back to work.
Right.
So we don't have indemnity claims. But this is kind of an information sheet, gives you historical to show where payroll has been, and show you what we're basing it off of. And we do not have the 2024 audit yet because the
Right.
policy doesn't end and it will happen. Okay? The next pages are, this is a kind of a complex thing, if you will. But this shows you your loss ratios, and loss ratios are claims that you've had versus premiums paid in. This breaks it down. There's a ton of information here. We break it down by auto. We break it down, the bottom page there, at the bottom of the first page you see is liability, law enforcement, public officials liability. This shows you all your claims. I'm not going to take the time today to go through all of these, but what I will tell you is that I think we're moving in the right direction. Some things that we need to discuss today, and Sam, you and I had a little bit of this, is I believe we're doing really good about having quarterly meetings.
Yes.
I think that they're very powerful. We take this information here and go through it more in depth and talk about where the claims are coming from, what training opportunities do we have based off of the type of claims that we have, what situations do you have, are you thinking about building a shooting range, what can we do to help you with that, what can we do for motion, there's a lot of it. I would like to get those scheduled. I believe if we don't get them scheduled, then
It won't happen.
they don't get scheduled. I mean, so, I would like to do that. We did some in person, some in Zoom. When that really started, this was kind of after that COVID. I'm a press the flesh kind of guy.
Yes, me too.
So, not to say that if somebody needs to Zoom in, I get it, we'll do it. We'll make it happen. I say that to say it. I would like to do that. The trending in the claims in the right directions, and let's just talk about the municipal market for just a second. We're gonna be pure rate when we're all said and done. I take out exposure. If you buy stuff and it costs more, we insure more stuff, premium's gonna go up. I get that. I live in a pure rate world. We're gonna be at about a 2% rate increase at the end of the day. no exposure. In today's market, I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, you talk to your county friends across, I mean, law enforcement liability is a tough project.
Yes.
Market access for us, I have every market that writes in the state of Indiana due to some situations. We talked about this, market availability is a little more limited. Liberty stepped up and took us 3 years ago when One Beacon pulled out of the market, and then we blessed them with a fantastic hailstorm. And then we went back to Chubb, actually, on the property. So Liberty's been a good partner. We did a risk control meeting. Greg was kind enough to spend some time with us out of the highway department. Sheriff was good. We got to see all of that. Sam, you were on part of that with us. Review out of that was good. So I think we're moving in the right direction.
Good.
So what do you need from me?
I knew we need to get the quarterly meeting set up, because that's gonna be benefit not us, but benefit the council too, and benefit the department heads. Sometimes department heads don't realize that, you know, nothing against anybody, but, you know, the sheriff's office, the county highway, they got more vehicles out on the road than anybody.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of the beast, you know, and I think they need to be included in this, knowing that this is happening, this is happening, or that's going on, or whatever, and if we got any loss prevention measures, and I know, you know, Greg's working on stuff, that we need to be better over here, and or better over here. I think we all need to know that as a whole, not as a county.
And if we're gonna do it, I think the departments have to be there. It's good for me too, with the department heads, because if there's a situation, or they may be talking about something, and wait a minute, what do you got a problem with that, or,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. I mean, Chris and I were talking about this morning, we had a medical bill on a work comp claim that was, we're on top of that now. We didn't know we had it, we got it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that type of stuff, I mean, it's,
I think the meeting, getting that, the first thing we do is get the meeting set up quarterly. Yeah, Greg?
Sorry to interrupt, I just wanted to say it's a really good thing that IPEP is coming back. We just gained 3/4 of our training back that didn't cost us some time with IPEP coming back. They really were great. They had, they also did site inspections and critiqued us. We didn't have that. That is a really big step in the right direction for the highway department, especially with the training.
yeah.
They made everything that, if we could imagine training and ask for it, they found it.
Yeah, and EPIC has a program that we built to work with IPEP for OSHA training and how to track it. So we'll go through all that. We built it. It's a fantastic program. I use that term "we" a little loosely.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You got a mouse in your pocket, that's all right.
I dreamt it, somebody made it happen. So, full disclosure. So, I think I agree with Greg. I think IPEP is a fantastic partner. They've added some things even since Greg had them, so I think they have a great program for the sheriff. They're very deep in the mental health side on the sheriff's department, which is a huge problem. So,
Well, safety is important no matter what
Correct.
group, what group you're talking about.
100%.
So safety's it.
100%. And so I will get with Sheila. Do you get stuck with that, or you lose? You
Yes,
win
she
by
loses.
losing?
She
Lose by
loses.
winning?
She's secretary. She loses. No. Just
So what I'll do is I'll just,
put out a couple of different dates and times for the first meeting, so we
and
have
then
something.
we'll schedule them all out of that
Yeah,
first meeting.
and we'll try to get where the department heads can come to it, and you go through this, give us a little song and dance, how we are, how things are
We'll
working.
break down the claims, show you where they're
Absolutely.
coming from. We'll go through all that.
Yep.
Training, we'll do everything.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right.
So
Only thing I need from you is that statement of values that you have there signed at some point.
Yeah, sure.
And then somebody sends that back to me, and then what I owed you, I will get, and then I will follow up on the site.
You owe us a lot? Do we get a big check back?
No, sir.
What was that?
No, sir.
Have a cook and get out. Thank you,
I'm
John.
gonna go see what.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, community cap plan, Sheila.
You skipped the asset management.
Okay, asset management plan, sorry.
This is one of the other things that State Board of Accounts wrote. It's actually the commissioner's plan, but it all got written up under the auditor. we've got to get all of the departments to get their inventory in. And if we do not have it done by our next audit, the county can be fined by the state. That being said,
Yeah.
Beth has worked really hard the last couple of days. She contacted our data pit stop is who our program is through. They are coming March 27th at 10 a.m. to train, teach, help, whatever, all departments to get their stuff entered.
Okay, with that being said, we do not have till the next audit to get this done. Because you know how it is, if you want to wait till the next audit to get something done, we'll forget about what we're even talking about here today. So you have till April 3rd. There's no excuses. Every department head needs to get their capital asset management plan put together. Why? Because we have to assess the county's value. We're getting ready to talk about the value of the county. We're talking about a jail project. We need to know what our assets are worth so we know what the county value is, okay? And it's something that, and it gets overlooked, I understand totally, but for Sheila's end of things and for the council's end, for everybody's end of things, the county attorney, he needs this asset plan. We need to know what our value is. Because we go to build a jail, we have to show everybody, and Jeff Peters and all the financial people, what our value is. If we can't show them what our value is, guess what? You go to the bank and you want to borrow money, and they ask you what your assets are and what you value. I don't know what I got. And they're going to say, take a cookie and leave. Okay? It's no different than the county. County needs to know what their assets are. So they are coming down on the 27th, but you know, this has been out there for how long, Sheila?
2 years, we've been given a grace period by the state, and we've used up.
We don't need, we just need to get it done. And I know sometimes that takes, all right, we're gonna have to take a day, 2 people, 3 people. I know what I did when I was sheriff, 4 of us went out. We had to list everything, went building to building, car to car, inside, outside, computer's desk. But we made a composite list and we had to turn it in. So everybody agree? I know, yes, Greg. You don't agree?
In evaluation of the buildings and the property, will that be my responsibility?
No, the buildings and the property will come through John Parmalee.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Benita, you shaking your head no?
Well, I'm just learning about all this and I don't know anything about it, and I'm just thinking the 27th they're coming down to train us and we have to have it done by the 3rd. It's not a big window to know exactly what.
Start your list now.
Oh, I am.
Don't, the training is gonna be on the 27th, but you can go ahead and start your inventory list now.
I am.
And you know, when the training gets here, it still gives us a few days. It took the sheriff's office 2 days to do all theirs. It's just.
I got it.
Thank you. Oh, hallelujah, see? Appreciate you. Okay, now the next, Sheila, the community cap plan.
Plan that you also got written up by State Board of Accounts for not having.
We got wrote up a lot.
No, you didn't.
Now, Sheila got wrote up, and you get 2
But it
cookies.
is not my fault, it's their plan. In the
Yes.
meantime, you do need to come up with a plan. That is also needed for some of the evaluations that they'll be doing for the sheriff, the council. It was part of the budgeting process that didn't happen, or we didn't have it to work with, so.
We have to have a plan on what we're gonna be doing, what our future plans is for the county, right, Sheila? With our cum cap money, we have to have a plan, the commissioners have to come up with a plan, so we'll understand this, we're gonna be spending this money for this project, or this money for that project. The council needs to know that, but the state needs to know it more than anything, and we've gotta get that done, and that falls on the commissioners, so there you have it, Dave, you take over that way. Okay.
All right,
You get
on it.
Okay, that's on us. The AEC, contract, this is a landfill contract. We've been doing this contract now for however many years. It's a proposal for the 2025 post-closure support Owen County landfill in Patricksburg. This is something, we have to sign it. We got to keep going here. How many more years we got on the contract? 3 or 4 more years on this landfill. Once we get past that, we don't have to do, this is done. We're done, but we spent a lot of money in the last several years on this contract to oversee the landfill. It's something we have to do every year. It's nothing new, so we've got to get it done. I make that, it's, you know, it's, the following tasks are included in this scope of work: project management, semi-annual groundwater monitoring reporting, quarterly methane monitoring reporting, semi-annual landfill inspection reporting, preparation of demonstration plan, the IDM meeting, and safe work plan preparation. It's just part of the contract that we have to, we're liable for this, so we have to do it. I make a motion that we sign the ACOM contract.
I'll second.
2-0. Okay. CPR AED training.
Chris said to tell you, unfortunately, he didn't really want to run. This was something that they're trying to get done, the commissioners require or wanted to. He's got a list, however, he needs to know where the money's gonna come from, because you have to pay $10 to the American Heart Association for their certificates for everybody that participates.
Okay, I brought this up to Chris, and I know that they do it, the sheriff's office does it, the jail does, and stuff like this. I would like to see everybody that works for the county. How many of you know how to do CPR? You see me look at it, so. Every county employee, now, because you never know when you're going to be needed, correct?
Yes.
So every county employee needs to do, they go through the CPR AED training. I don't want to be the person, you got, uh-oh, what?
He had sent an email around.
Yes.
And I believe they're being held on March 13th and the 14th.
Mm-hmm.
And he was asking for the names of individuals, and I think it was just a couple from each office to begin with. I'm not sure where he got it with numbers.
Okay, with that being said, I'm not over the elected officials. You know, I can make it mandatory if you want to, but to be honest with you, I think the elected officials need to talk to their employees. I think everybody needs to be trained. CPR and AED. Everybody. You don't know when you're going to be needed. This is my take. Jack, you got any comments on that? I mean,
I agree with you. I think Chris's hesitancy to train every employee was scheduling and instructors. And that's what he mentioned in the email, was he, you know, wanted to keep it to 2 per department and know how many, so he could schedule instructors. He might be able to do more in a few more months. I don't want to speak for Chris, but I think this first hit, he wanted to hit the,
and I'm fine with that. I think all department heads, let's start this way. All department heads, need to be CPR and AED certified, and they're, what do you call, second in command, Diane, what do you call it, chief deputy? Yeah, we can start that way. Let's start that way, but in the end, and this is just me and the rest of commissioners, in the end, every employee will be CPR certified and AED certified, everybody. Yes, Greg?
Just, all the highway department people already are, and I've already spoken with Chris just to get us all through. It may take us all summer, but we're gonna do it in 3 different hitches, but all the guys are going to get recertified.
I would think by the end of this year, that's a long time, it's what, 10 more months, that maybe getting with Chris and stuff like that, everybody be CPR and AED certified. Everybody good with that? Anybody got any problem with that? What do you think, Dave?
I'm good with it.
Okay, well, then we'll get with Chris and start with the department heads first, Jack, and get with his schedule and get them as trained as possible. Then maybe 2 months down the road, we can get some more people trained. You know, I like to see the council trained, the commissioners. You know, I've been through it, but refresher course in anything's good for anybody. So, okay. Now we're moving on to the highway department. Before Greg comes up here, is Donnie Cantrell in the building?
Yes, sir.
Where you at?
Right here, sir.
Good. Nice to meet you,
Nice to
finally,
meet
sir.
you, Sam. How are you, sir?
Me?
Yes.
I am blessed, but I'm getting a tad bit hungry, so.
Cookies?
You'll have to.
Your 6 months ain't up, sir. I mean,
I'm tired of you talking about this cookie.
oh, yeah. Hallelujah, praise God. You let me know what you think and I'll report back to my wife.
I like it.
Good. Mr. Cantrell, me and you spoke on several occasions.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, sir.
I believe you spoke with Mr. Risk personally, on person, and also on the phone, if that, or maybe just in person.
Just in person.
I believe you also spoke to Chad Walker
Yes, sir.
and Greg Melton.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm not a loss for words yet, sir, but I'm trying to reorganize my mouth before I spew something out that I wished I hadn't known. Because the county attorney is sitting right here beside me, and he can chuck pretty hard. I hope you understand that this conversation that I want to have with you is being limited here because the commissioner is not here.
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And I'm not here to throw, you know, Gary is sick. He come in this morning, he didn't look well, and he went home. And I know it takes you out of your schedule, sir. But this conversation I need to have with you in a public meeting requires all three commissioners sitting here. I hope you understand that. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
That you're willing to, in this meeting, you're willing to, or I'm going to ask you a couple questions. The conversation that me and you had, and the conversation you have with Commissioner Risk, and the conversation you've had with Chad Walker and Greg Melton, you're going to hold true to that conversation. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct, yes.
So I asked you, Mr. Cantrell, is it Cantrell or Contrail?
Cottrell. Cottrell.
Well, I got that all wrong, sir.
That's all right.
Our next commissioners meeting will be, I got to put these on, sir, will be the 20th, sir, at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay. I don't want to bring up the conversation because I want to make sure that all individuals here so they have a right to say what's on their mind. Okay?
Yep.
So do you think you might be able to make the March 20th meeting at 6 p.m.?
We will make it work, sir.
I greatly appreciate that, sir.
Absolutely.
I want this. There's been a couple occasions we've tried to have to get this out. I want this out. I want it settled, and I want to move on. Okay? But the conversation that me and you had is a very important conversation, and I feel that this needs to be settled up in a public meeting. Because rest assured one thing, I will address the people involved in this public meeting about this conversation. I want it done, wherever the chips fall, wherever they fall after we have the meeting. It'll be honest and open, and everybody's gonna know exactly the conversation that was had. Is that fair saying, sir?
100%. I couldn't agree more.
Okay. Mr. Melton, Mr. Walker,
Agreed.
Mr. Risk?
Yep.
Okay, that conversation will be held at our next meeting at 6 p.m. Thank you for being here, sir.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry you've sat here all the time during this, but I didn't know who you was, but now I know.
I met him before.
Good to meet you. If you want to stay for the rest of the meeting, you can, or if you'd like to have, 6 cookies, take it with you. You can.
It's been pretty interesting with the chicken checking, so I'm pretty good. So. But I seriously, I want to tell you both, like, I appreciate Mr. Risk, I appreciate you, Mr. Ball, I really do. And I appreciate Mr. Burke. At the end of the day, I think on behalf of OMAC, my job is literally to take and help any way I can at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning with Greg and Chad. When it comes to plowing snow, if there's a flood, if there's trees down, if our trucks can be assistant to that. My company pays for my cell phone. So when my phone rings, I have to answer it. I feel like these guys are first responders in my opinion because
no offense, and I know your background with, if you would say, with law enforcement, roads are bad, you guys are out. You're the first ones to call it, it's these gentlemen. You know, roads, trees across the street, they're the first guys. So when it comes to that and trust goes down, that's my responsibility, and to help this county out, just like I help every single county that's around Vigo County where I live at. But with that said, it's a contribution that we're going to continue to work with. I love what Greg and Chad do, and I work with them very closely, but they put, just like your old distributor truck that's gonna come, all of your trucks right now, except for your 3 tri-axles, because they're older, you have 6 years, 150,000 mile engine plant warranty and engine after treatment warranty. I can rest assure you there is going to be problems. But just to know that you're saving the taxpayers money, because I'm letting you know also, you come into our shop, our literally hourly rate is $179 an hour. Where that's gonna be at in 6 years, you know just as well as I do, there's gonna be increases. But what you can save and what you can do and what these gentlemen have done, and we worked very closely and very hard to actually get this fleet up for a lot of you guys. So roads can be built, they can be cleared. I think they've done a really good job, and it's been a pleasure to work with you, Mr. Risk, and you, Mr. Ball. Line of communication is great. I told that to my general manager, Chad Howard, and he said, let's just keep it at that. So once again, you gentlemen have my phone number. You can call me anytime. If there's ever an issue, we have an issue right now. We have a tailgate that's not working. We're going to get it resolved. So, but if there's anything, and I mean that with everything, I have my card. You're more than welcome to it. But you got my number. You call me anytime.
And I appreciate it, and once again, appreciate you being here, and I wish we could have got this out and resolved today, but you know, and I'm not throwing nobody under the bus, sir, I don't mean that. But the conversation that we had was extremely important, and it deserves to be shook out.
Sure.
And what happens after that, but you know, I'm not one to sweep stuff under the rug, or I make mistakes, and we all do, but for the benefit of you and your company, and those 2 gentlemen sitting back here and us 2 sitting up here, we'll get this resolved on the 20th.
Okay.
I appreciate your support, appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Okay, boy, here we go, County Highway, come on up, Greg, you got 15 minutes, grab a cookie on your way up. I'm trying to get rid of those cookies.
Chuck me one.
You want a cookie?
Pass them around.
Hey, pass them around, yeah, pass them around, because
Here, Chuck, I'll try to.
Ashley over there just doesn't want to get a cookie. I want you to have one.
I will get one, I promise.
I like you to have 2.
I'm just
morning,
gonna
guys.
make
Take them home.
I'll take it home.
You take-
I'll take it as long as
We're not- Didn't gonna work out very well here, Mr. Attorney.
Good morning, Commissioners. Just normal update, the graders are on routes this time of year. We use the term at the shop. We have some specific roads that eat rock, and we've got that going on right now with the freeze thaw and the rains that we've had. So we've been specific to keep the graders on the routes to try to improve in each commissioner district. We're running hole patchers, or excuse me, hot box patching potholes. I have diverted a little bit from that. Gentlemen, we had to do some bridge maintenance. It's that time of year. We've used a lot of salt and sand. We have drains plugged on bridges, and we've got water coming in. So we are working on the bridges to get the drains
Okay, good.
cleared. The next thing, since the change in the building department, the highway department has taken back over the driveway permits.
Good.
There's a couple of things on the ordinance, gentlemen, that I believe that one needs to be changed. The money that is taken in from the driveway permit, the ordinance says it's to go to the building department, so we need to get that changed. That it comes to the highway department. Highway department used to take care of the driveway permits, and there's been a couple of other changes that I don't necessarily agree with, and I just want to bring those up.
And I know we have to have some standard, but the ordinance says, I believe, that all driveways must have a culvert in them. Gentlemen, sometimes that doesn't make any sense. Sometimes, and I mean, there are culverts out here I could take you to that are just stuck in the ground and they don't function at all because those folks were required to do that.
Okay.
I think that needs to be changed to where we're able to make that determination. Gentlemen, we could run the hydraulics and know what kind of water flow we're gonna go through those pipes, but if you have driveways at the crest of a hill and water falls in either direction, and you could absolutely say there's gonna be a non-functioning pipe there, then I don't think anybody should be required to put one in. So we need to go back to the latitude that
You need to
that can be
determine
done.
that. Right. The highway department determines
Yeah,
that, correct?
and then, yes, sir, and then the other thing is the length of the pipe. For whatever reason, that, and when I say pipe, I mean culvert pipe, has been shortened up to 20 feet. Gentlemen, that is not a whole lot of room for anybody even to get a normal automobile off of the roadway and into the driveway. It used to be a minimum of 24 feet. Quite frankly, in today's world, as big as the automobiles are getting, you can just take pickup trucks that are 10 years old and put them beside one today. I would recommend that the length of the culvert pipe be 30 feet.
30?
Yes, sir. Okay. And that could be plastic or galvanized aluminum, but that doesn't matter, whatever is the cheapest for the property owner. I don't want to, but I think that just saying a culvert has to be somewhere where it's not going to function isn't proper.
You can determine that then, Greg.
I can, and gentlemen, since we've been doing it, just for the sake of telling you, I have been out and I just approved a driveway permit that there's absolutely no reason why there should be a culvert there, so I put the determination that no culvert needed.
I'm good with that.
I talked to David a little bit about our TS6 110 New Holland tractor. It's taken a while to get to this point, and I'm still not completely satisfied on the information that I've obtained. This tractor was purchased new in 2018. The warranty has run out on it. The one thing I could say is this tractor's only had one operator since it was new, and he takes care of it. When you walk out there and you see this 2018 tractor, the machine looks new today. He takes that good a care of what he operates, and that's Brian Hendershot. Most people know him as Poodle, but I mean, he is just very conscientious about his machine. He started to pull it out of the parking lot, and it wouldn't move. Acted like it didn't want to move forward. He shut it off, then it off and back on, it wouldn't go in reverse. A lot of electronics on that vehicle. I did have a New Holland dealer come look at it. They said it was not electrical. Ed, my head mechanic, has looked at it. He doesn't believe it is electrical. The diagnosis from the dealer, without breaking the tractor in two, is he believes that it has blown both the front and rear seal in the transmission.
How many hours are on that machine?
6115. Now, it runs a lot. We never, it runs constantly, but still, for tractors, I've got one at home that's never been broken in two. It's got good maintenance, and it's got over probably 18, 20,000 hours on it now. But anyway, long story short.
This is bad news, isn't it?
Real bad news.
Thank you.
I will not know until we split that tractor what the real problem is.
All right.
Worst case scenario, gentlemen, $45,000. The tractor was $120,000 new. With the amount of hours on it now, I went to a local gentleman, Charlie Mullen.
Yeah.
And then I just asked Charlie to give me an evaluation on the tractor. He came out and took a look at it, and he said in good working order, the tractor, because of its hours, is worth between $50,000 and $60,000. I went as far as to check to see as what it would be worth salvage, and it's worth basically nothing in my book. It's worth about $10,000 that way. I have called Jeremy from Elite. He does a lot of agricultural equipment personally. I asked him to give me basically a third opinion on what he thought, but I'm not gonna know until we split that tractor. So then it may be a decision at that point, what we do. I just don't have a good answer
No,
for
I'm
it,
just
and
laughing,
I've tried, but
that's all you do is
again,
laugh.
Well, I mean, if you split it and find out it's absolutely junk, I mean, it's only worth, and they're wanting $45,000 to fix it. And you're looking at 50 to 60 in value to me. And to be honest with you, that tractor shouldn't have an issue right now, in my opinion.
David, I'm absolutely with you, that tractor, I don't think so either,
But it does.
but it does. But it does.
So when you break it down, you're gonna find out what's wrong with it, right?
That's exactly right.
Then you'll know.
Yep.
Then if
But
it's-
I wanted you to know, worst case scenario.
Well, worst case scenario, you break it down and find out something fairly simple.
Let's hope.
And that, yeah, Lord, we need some help here, so. And we get it put back together and get it back on the road. And you pull it apart and find out it's this and this, and it's gonna cost $45,000 to fix it, then we got a problem.
Yes, sir.
Well, but that's yet to be determined, so, you're gonna pull it apart.
Well, and that's what I intended to do, but I thought you should be aware of what I was hearing.
I just hope for good news after you pull it apart. Rubber band broke or something.
Let's hope, let's hope.
Something.
Ed can hold a lot together with baling wire, he sure can. I wanted you guys to be aware that coming out of this winter, freeze and thaw, and we have issues every year like this, but we've got some specific ones. We've got some hard surface roads that are near the end of their life, and they are breaking apart. I'm gonna have to go to two right off the bat off the top of my head, and one is Schooling Road,
Oh, yeah, how's that, yeah.
and the other one is Rocky Hill, and we're gonna have to put some 73s and 53s down, and get them packed in and put them in with the grader just to fix some spots. Folks ought to know it's no plan to turn that road into a gravel road or any of these roads, but we have to make some repairs, and right now, that's the only way we could do it.
Well, and me and you spoke about this, and I'm hoping either next Thursday or Friday, we can take Rocky Hill. I've been out there a few times, and you know, I travel up and down, and just take a look, and it doesn't change. It's still a mess.
Yes.
It's a disaster. But that is a project that I'm gonna put on the front burner on my end of things, because it's gotta be fixed.
It does.
And it's gonna take some dozer work and rebedding and stuff to get that done, but we'll go out there next week and spend some time for the public to understand. Greg is gonna have to make some temporary, it's basically just temporary, right? If anybody's ever been up on Rock Hill, drove up and down it, don't. No. I don't know if Diane has, but it's one of the worst roads in Owen County. But it's would be one of the most highly traveled roads.
Right.
If it was, huh?
We've been 4 rims on a
Yeah.
car.
So, but Greg and I have talked about this, and this is gonna be a project that's gonna be moved to the front burner. Dave and I have talked about it as well. Don't know how long it's gonna take. It's you know, it's not gonna be done overnight, but we are gonna get started on it. Sorry, Greg. Just
Oh, no,
interrupted you there.
that's, I just wanted to make you aware that those are just fixes that we're gonna have to make because there's no way to make them with any kind of emulsion right now.
Right.
Sam contacted me the other day in regard to the amount of employees that I had. Counting Chad, I have 18 full-time, that's not counting my office staff, and 4 part-time. I can tell you that it's been said, but it would have been way before my time. Sheila's been around the county long enough, maybe she knows, but I've been told, and even Chad thinks, that there were a lot more employees at the garage at one time, but maybe a money stream from the state slowed down and it was reduced, but I don't know that.
I do. I know for a fact it was.
I was thinking there was more like
32 at one time,
Well,
34.
that is
34 at
the
one time.
number that's been, that I believe, but I've never had that many folks. That was done before I was there.
Yeah.
During COVID, guys, there was a point in time, and I could have the number wrong, but you know, due to the wages and things and the COVID going on, we were down to like 10 employees, maybe less at one time. I think there was one day I had 8. Because we were down so bad at the time, we gave up 3 employees to get a raise. Well, you know, guys, if you look now, I mean, there's days I don't have it, but we're lucky right now. We just hired another operator with some good experience. We're back up to full staff. But those are the reasons, the numbers are what I have.
All right. Well, and if we can address that, and I'm glad Paulie's here too, because, I don't know, Paulie, how long you been here at the council?
I'm going on my second term, so 5.
Yeah, long, so. But I remember back when there was 32, 34 employees back. I've been around here long enough to know. And of course, do budget cuts, restraints, everything, we all know we had to cut employees and stuff. But here's the issue that we got, and this is no secret. It's no secret with the council, and no secret with the public. Or if it is, it won't be a secret here in a little bit. We have a serious issue going on in our county. No fault to the county highway, okay? I'm not blaming you for nothing. Everybody likes the blacktop road, right? I understand. I do too. There's absolutely no reason for this county to blacktop any roads until the ditches and the culverts and the trees are cut back. Everybody agree? And the reason I'm saying this, and this is where it goes, and this is where Paulie, and I think Paulie agreed. Dave and I have talked about this. You'll never see me accept anybody's road getting blacktopped, as long as I'm commissioner, until the ditches are cut, the culverts are put in, and the trees are cut back. Now, I hear all the oh, you can't cut my tree hanging over the road. Watch me. Because it's going to happen. Well, you can't, don't cut that ditch. I manicure that. And I understand people, there's a lot of people that really take care of their ditches. You know what I mean? It's great. Well, if they're that good, they probably don't need to be ditched anyway. But Greg knows, Chad knows, that there is a lot of roads that blacktop, that the water runs over it. If you don't get the water off the road, you're going back over and trying to fix it.
Yes, sir.
I've talked to Dave about it. I've talked to Gary about it. And this is the reason the personnel issue thing comes up, is because I'm here to make a stand, and I'm glad Paulie's here, because she's got the money in the pocket.
Paulie's not liking this right now.
That preaches. If we don't get a program, if Greg doesn't, I'm not saying he doesn't have a program, but you have to have the proper staff and the proper equipment to get the work done. You don't frame a house with a ball peen hammer. Now you can, but it's gonna take a while. And we have to protect our assets, like Dave was talking about, putting up a building out there, and we're working on getting that done. But we have to develop ditching crew, I don't know what do you call it, Greg? A
That's
ditching crew.
exactly what I'd say.
You gotta have a PIO out in front of the crew, talking to these homeowners, hey, we're gonna be here in 2 weeks, we're gonna cut the ditches, if culverts are addressed and need to be addressed, we're gonna do that. If your trees are hanging over the road and they're in our purview of our right of way, I don't need your permission to cut the trees. It's in our purview. We were not there to butcher anything up, but you gotta be able to dry the roads. I went on several of our roads that's been blacktop and the water's running across them. We're throwing tax dollar money away. But on Greg's side of things, I need to make sure, and Wally, thank you for bringing the checkbook. We need to make sure Greg has the staff in order to get this done. How great it would be if Greg had 2 ditching crews. I don't know how many it takes per ditching. I don't know, that's up to him to decide. But if we don't get out ahead of the ditching and the culverts and cutting the trees, I'm not blacktopping any roads. Don't ask me to. I won't. Because I went through my district the other day, just my district alone. I don't know how many tons of stone you've had to put on roads and stuff, but sometimes we waste a lot of stone. It washes off, doesn't it, Greg?
It does.
Because of the ditching, the culverts. That's a lot of money that is being wasted. Taxpayer dollars is being wasted. Now, I know we're short-staffed and she didn't bring a very big check today, but I think the council will understand that we're trying to get ahead of the problem. Right now, we're behind the problem. Greg don't need to be behind the problem. He needs to be ahead of the problem. Right. But he needs to have the adequate staff to get that done. So, sir, I would like for you and Chad or whoever the power is to be to address that situation and bring it before us, what the plan or how many staff you might need, so I can go to Paula and she can bring a bigger check.
We can't ask you to do a job, Greg, if you can't do it, if we can't back you up with the equipment needed and the manpower needed.
And for the public out there, I hope the public understands. There's my neighbor, he drives past on the golf court all the time. Hey, buddy. We're not trying to delay anything, blacktopping roads, we're not. We're trying to cure the problem before we lay the asphalt, because Greg's coming back having to fix the roads that's already been asphalted. We don't need that. It's wasting your money. You know, we don't have the money to throw away, do we, Paul? Now, we might have some money, Paul's got, to put towards the problem. We've got to put the money towards the problem. We've got to fix the problem. We can't always be behind the 8 ball because you're spinning your wheels. As hard as you try, you're spinning your wheels. So provide us with a plan and what you think you're going to need as far as people. And, maybe it is something, Greg, that we have a lot of contractors in Owen County that run excavators, heavy equipment, so on and so forth, that might be able to help us. Do a road in its entirety. Start from Bank A to go all the way, get the road cut, culverts all, then come in and say, well, now it's ready for asphalt. I think the taxpayers would appreciate that. So that's my take, I'm done.
Well, to speak about that, Sam, I could take you to roads that we had time to do properly. And I will just say time to do properly, that are holding up very well. And there's those that there wasn't time to do the proper, what I would call the proper work, not so well.
I agree.
And I think the next time, and I mean, I know the commission, one of the things that we probably need to address if community crossing is around in 26, I don't know what's going on legislation right now, but if community crossing is around in 26, I think it needs to be discussed that maybe we don't lay so much blacktop, but we put that entire monies toward X amount of miles and have it fixed correctly and have the contractors do that portion of it, because when you pull all the staff and you start trying to prep for community crossing, it's an all hands on deck with what I have. So maybe not as many miles, but back it off and make it all inclusive.
I think as long as we got the horse before the cart,
Yes, sir.
not the cart before the horse, I think it's gonna be beneficial to the taxpayers. It may take a little bit to get there, but I think the taxpayers will see that we got the horse before the cart, not the cart before the horse, because a lot of money is just being thrown at things that shouldn't be thrown at.
Then, Commissioners, I see we have Ridgeline Road on the agenda.
Hallelujah.
There's a portion of that road, gentlemen, that I want to bring up because I believe, I know that it is under the same kind of circumstances. It's kind of the no man's land. And Nick's here, it's Eastview Lane.
Cuts off to the left there.
It's off to the left. Gentlemen, it's the same as Ridgeline Road.
It
So
is.
in your adoption, platted out exactly the same. Gentlemen, I would request that there was a portion of it bought during a tax sale, so we just go to that location. But I would ask that you also adopt Eastline Lane if you adopt Ridgeline.
Well, speaking of that, we're gonna end this today. This conversation will be done today. And it's been going on for years. Dave's been out there, I've been out there, Gary's been out there, we've been out there, we've talked on the phone, I've met Mr. Zimmerman, some neighbor. I make a motion, well, wait a minute, before I do all that. Gary, we've talked about culverts that need to be put in, also catch basins. It's pretty steep up on that grade side. We also need to contact homeowners from the one pond. You keep going west, there's 3 other ponds that affects homeowners. Not because it may change anything. I want the homeowners to know that it's west of the first pond, to know that other water could potentially be coming to your pond. Now, there's a lot of water going to those ponds now, but when we adopt Ridgeline Road today, which I believe we're going to do, they've got to have a new culvert put in right there, and it's going to go down to that pond, and it's going to overflow to the next pond, to the next pond, to the next one. I just want to make sure that we have a PIO out in front of this to tell the neighbors that this is what we're going to do. That way they have a right to voice their concerns, and I don't think it's going to affect anybody in a harmful way, but I just want to make sure that you send somebody or you go yourself, sir.
I'll just go myself.
And talk to the neighbors, let them know, here's what we're going to do. So with that being said, and you know what culvert's got to be put in. For the people out on Ridgeline Road, I know it's been a long time coming, please understand something, that this won't happen overnight. We're going to adopt it today. It's a work in progress. It's going to take some time for Greg to facilitate the schedule, or Chad. You okay? Have you had a cookie yet, Chad?
Oh, I'll get them on the way.
Okay, bye.
Whatever's left, I'm taking with me.
Hallelujah. To get a schedule put together so he can go in and ditching, culverts, there's got to be catch basins put in, and so on and so forth. So I've got full faith in Greg to take care of that. But with that being said, I make a motion that we adopt. Now, Ridgeline Road goes in and it goes around up to the top of the hill. It doesn't extend past that where I call it the circle. It stops right there. So everybody from Ridgeline, if you live over that part, this is not part of the Ridgeline Road adoption. That's a different category over that hill. So we're adopting Ridgeline Road. You go in up the hill, shoot to the right till you get to that turnaround. Then we're also going to adopt, what's the name of the road?
Eastview.
Eastview, East Line?
Eastview Lane.
Eastview Lane.
Eastview is one word.
Eastview? Okay. I make a motion, we adopt Ridgeline up to whatever I just said, and Eastview Road.
That turns into an HOA up there, correct?
Yes, turns into,
Are
yeah,
you taking public comment on this?
public comment always.
Okay. And nothing against the Zimmermans, but that property, I guess it'll have to be turned over to the county because it just sits there and says no owner, but it did have its own parcel at one point in time. And I know that in the last meeting, Chad was gonna get and see what kind of expense it was gonna be to bring it up to par. Is that still part of the process, that the homeowners will be paying for that?
I don't, you want my 2 cents worth?
Yeah?
No.
Oh, and then you gotta figure too, the people that live back in the Hidden Valley are gonna get the benefit of having a good road too. And he's talking about having, not enough help, not enough workers, and we can't take care of what we got now, so we gotta have a plan for that too.
That's up to Greg. The issue of the road is because and I understand what you're saying is, yeah, we don't want to take any more than we can handle right now. And I agree with that. But the way that road was set up, and it's been a mess, and you know it's been a mess. I think it's unfair to the people out there that they don't get the help. Now, I will have to say, and Greg and Dave, I know they've been helping them. Push some snow, set some stone, and stuff like that. Now, when it comes to the culverts and stuff like that, I know what my take is on it. Because like if we're going out and ditching a road, let's say we're doing Rattlesnake Road, and we come to somebody's culvert. They own to the center of the road. The county's right of way is from center of the road out 20 feet?
20 feet from the center of the road, yes, sir.
That the county takes care of. If Greg's going out and ditching the road and he comes across Polly's house on Rattlesnake and it needs a culvert put in, then we go to her and say, and she says, I can't afford a culvert. Well, do we stop her ditching? Do we assess her the price of the culvert anyway? Me personally, as just one commissioner, I think if it's in our purview, if it's in our right of way, whether regardless the property owner owns to the center of the road or not, I think that the county should take responsibility and put the culverts in and move on. And if the homeowner says, well, you're not gonna go put a culvert in my driveway, if he says the culvert's gonna go in, we're putting the culvert in. See, it's a double-edged sword. Some people can afford the culvert, some people can't. But I will throw this out there, if anybody from Ridgeline or the public, if you can afford a culvert, if you're going out and talking to some people and there's 6 culverts that need to be put in and somebody says, I can afford a culvert or I can afford a little bit, we'll take your money. It's a double-edged sword.
I'd buy my own culvert.
I have too, on a piece of property. But that was back then, this is not now.
Right.
I think that the commissioners, and this one commissioner, I think we need to extend that olive branch to our taxpayers who are paying enough taxes the way it is, who have suffered over the road projects just about long enough to say, guess what? We're ditching, we're putting your culverts in, and we're cutting your trees. If you don't like the culvert, you don't like the trees coming back, show up to the meeting or take us to court. Because it's our right, it's in our purview to take care of it. That's just my opinion. We can discuss that at another time, but I understand where you're coming from. Sorry, Greg.
Oh, no.
Just jumped all over that one, didn't
I'm good.
I? You happy? Ridgeline, you guys, everybody happy?
You were gonna make a motion, yeah.
We already made it, but.
You did.
I haven't seconded it.
Uh-oh.
Here, now I've already received emails from people out there on Ridgeline wanting signs put in, wanting to figure out control the dust of the roads, speed limit, one thing at a time, okay? We haven't even took this over yet, and you're loading us up. Get off the gas pedal a little bit, okay? So, we're gonna take the road over, both of them, okay? So I'll second that.
And with that, yeah, so all in favor, the 2-0, take over Ridgeline and Eastview?
Eastview.
Okay. With that being said, Greg will put together a plan at your convenience, sir. I don't want you to expect to go out there today. and see what's needed. If we need a slow sign, stop sign, children at play sign, whatever, we're all for that, but we gotta get the ditches done and culverts put in and trees cut. Those are the most important things. You agree, Chad? You ain't said a word since you've been there.
I agree.
All right.
Well, gentlemen, I've been out there half a dozen times. We've already got a plan together. We'll just have to put new cost.
Praise God. Yes, sir.
Sam, this is just a little bit off topic. This is what my wife and I call mud season. And I get on Facebook, which I really try not to do very often, but people start complaining about things on Facebook.
Surely not.
Sometimes about you guys.
I hope so.
A lot of times about these guys. And I just want to say that anytime I have ever called the highway department, I may not have spoken to Greg, but by golly, I believe they take a message. And it's probably more effective than getting on one of the chat groups.
I'll leave that social, I'm not going there. Go ahead, Greg.
Gentlemen, I don't have anything further.
That's it?
That's it.
You going to your thing tomorrow, auction? You going to buy?
I am.
What are you going to buy?
I like one.
All right, have fun, enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Department heads, elected officials. Dennis, you've been here all day. What do you got? You got something you want to say?
No, not really. I just want to see what's going on.
Have you got moved?
Not yet.
Okay, so,
We've got the carpets cleaned and seats coming and painted and all that. We just haven't got things moved yet.
okay, so with that being said, Heather, is that Heather? So I'm not good with the names. We're gonna be, next week's gonna be a real busy week for that area over, okay?
Okay.
Gonna be moving furniture here, down to there and stuff, getting you set up, and the building inspector set up, finish his office, getting him ready to go so he can spend more time with us. You know, happy land. Next week's gonna be real busy.
Okay.
Got to cut doors in, cut a window in, and get that stuff, and do what you need to do, but we'll be there to help you, okay?
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everything you're doing. Yes, way back there in the back, Department Head Shelley.
Please tell Michelle and their granddaughters, I think that's the best cookie I've ever had.
Well,
They're terrible. Leave them there and I'll take them home. I'll take care of it.
Get one more before I leave.
I didn't want to go there, but I got home last night, it was kind of late, and I walked in the door and like, fat boy smells cookies. So I got all comfortable, and anybody knows my granddaughter, she brings me this cookie right out of the oven. Now, you eat one cookie, it's like, that ain't bad at all. And I looked at that, she brought that little saucer, and I looked at it, and I'm looking at her, she's looking at me, and she knows exactly what my thoughts are. So next thing she does, she goes back and brings me a glass of milk and more cookies. Nice. I'll tell her. Shelley? Yes.
I too, hats off to the chef, those are fantastic.
Yeah.
I wanted to double check, because email issues are like crazy ever now, so I wanted to see if you guys had gotten the email to give you permission to move on to the attorney about the First Amendment audits. Yeah, the First Amendment auditor,
Did you send me an email?
I did.
When was that?
When was that?
Like a couple weeks ago.
Well, okay. I don't recall seeing it, not saying that I did, but with the email issue that we've had, that's what the gentleman that left here, that was one of his first orders of business.
That's awesome, because I'm having trouble getting my printer as well for our tax list.
I don't receive a lot of emails. People say, well, I sent you an email about this, and I know you've dealt with it. I know, Mr. Attorney. And some of the times I'll get an email that was from like 3 or 4 days prior, and you miss out on an email of something significant importance. And so I know that the AME group, and I'm not blaming Fourth Face. I'm not throwing the blame on nobody. But I told him that's priority. We need to figure out what the problem is. And that's what he said, we'll give him, 30 days or whatever it takes, for 15 days, he said, to try to get these problems worked out.
I'm just looking for a policy, so I know you wanted it to go through you guys before it hit Tony.
Well, if,
in regards to, elected officials and.
will you try resending it? Or if you have it, can you just print it out? And can you just give it to me? And give it to Tony too? That way we know we have it at hand, and Dave and Gary as well.
Sure.
Okay? Yeah, Greg.
I waited till I was done with highway department and county business. I just want to say that I possess the property that belonged to my dad that had the old firing range on it from the sheriff's office. I don't know whether there's some miscommunication on it. As long as I own it, the Owen County Sheriff's Office and the Spencer Police are allowed to use it. I don't want anybody, other counties, or any of the state agencies coming in. It's because of the traffic for my neighbors out there.
Right.
But if it's ours, as long as I possess it, and I don't have to take care of it, then they're still welcome to use it. They'll have to have that same old insurance that they have.
Will you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
Please reach out to the Sheriff White or Chief Deputy Miller.
I will do that when they walk out, because if there's some type of miscommunication.
There's a big gap, size of a river.
I will take care of that.
And let me know what the findings.
They're more than welcome to use it. I'm not gonna say I own it forever,
Yeah,
but as long as I possess it, that would have been my father's wish.
yeah. Well, if you would please reach out to them after this,
I will.
because there's a huge gap in a communication link there that, once again, coming together is gonna make things happen. So if you'll reach out, take care of that, then report your findings, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, hello, sir. Oh, sir, yeah, please stand up. Careful now, don't get down. We're not all CPR trained yet.
One of the things I want to bring up, and I've talked to some of the deputies out there in Jackson Township, where I come from.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, their presence has been really nice, because the amount of things that go on in Jackson Township are kind of bad. But the thing about it is that the sheriff presence out there has been really, really good. And I just want to let you guys know that it's appreciated by the people, my constituents out there in Jackson Township. Just that they're around on patrols.
Absolutely.
Plus the ones they've already picked up there lately. But that's what's going on, so just want to let you know that they're in pretty good shape.
Thank you.
Good deal.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to working with everybody. And also, I think that those cookies are fantastic.
You know what?
She's happy right now, so.
We'll give you about a month.
You know, if I bring cookies in at every meeting, I'll get all the support I need. Yeah, thank you. Any other public comments?
Department head still.
Yeah, go ahead, Jack, sorry.
First thing I'd like to say is, great decision, Greg Melton. That is exactly what Harley Melt would want. And,
Yes.
He provided that service, I don't know how many years that they have shot out there, and, yeah, good decision. The next thing is, Michelle Hobbs is incapable of making anything that doesn't taste splendid. Every time she comes through, yeah, with the home run.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Back to Greg, on that ordinance, is there still a minimum on the diameter for the culverts for our FEMA guidelines?
That is correct. Driveways must be 12 inches under the road. They have to be 15.
Okay. And that may fall more on anything that we have to replace as opposed to homeowners, I guess.
That is correct. Now, if we want to go into if we want FEMA to consider the driveways of folks, then we need to include, it must be a 15-inch pipe. The last board did not choose to do that, but if we want driveway pipes to be included in any type of FEMA reimbursement, then they must be at least 15 inches around.
Well, I think they should be.
I'll let the ordinance
That ordinance will need to have that changed from a 12-inch pipe in the driveway to a 15.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Greg.
The grant application rewrite, have we had any progress on that? Get Angie Lawson's name off that application? Kind of sticks in my craw.
Yeah, mine too.
It's on his list. I do
It's on the list.
It's on his list. He got,
Okay.
yeah.
IDHS Mitigation Division come down, had a meeting with us. As we suspected, they are going to fund 2 sirens for the, from the tornado we had in March of 23.
Yeah, 23. Yeah, oh yeah.
Seemed possible.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do have an in-kind match 25% on that. If my math is even close, we're gonna be somewhere in the ballpark of $30,000.
Okay.
And we've been keeping track of hours, and when the siren committee meets, RMC out of Bloomfield is gonna be a heavy contributor to that, as they are donating 2 poles and labor, and
Awesome.
we gotta get all that stuff figured, but, and I know that we've already talked about this, but I just wanna make sure you guys are okay, and I'm gonna talk to you about it in a minute, to go ahead and place the order for those sirens.
Absolutely.
That'll be adding a total of 5 with the 3 DNR sirens we're adding.
Once again, it goes back to safety issue, and safety is paramount for this county,
Okay.
regardless.
All right, there's still any surprises. And I have not been able to contact Mark Parmenter yet. In this day and age, there's no phone book. If you don't have it, you don't have it, but he was the other end of town, won't pay him a visit. See if he'll at least oversee the project. I don't know what his health's like now, but just let you know I haven't talked to him yet.
And with that being said, Pat Conder is here too, and he wants to be involved. So whatever your findings are, if you can reach out to Pat, I know Pat wants to do whatever he can for the public. That if you went to the last meeting, we had gentlemen speak about the veterans. We, as commissioners, we're going to support our veterans 100%. 100%. The doughboy needs cleaned, polished, cleaned up. Jack knows the guy. Pat Conder here wants to be involved. And so between Jack and Mr. Parmenter and getting with Pat, we got 3 people there. Maybe we can get something moving forward to get this done, get that cleaned up, all of our statues and stuff like that. We met with the lady this morning. Sorry, Jack, don't mean overrun, from Todd Young's office. She came down, Diane Powell. She's looking into assistance for us to help with the Veterans Park. That's Veterans Park. People fought and died for our freedom. Jail or no jail, road or no road, our veterans deserve absolutely the best from this county. And rest assured they're going to get it. Go ahead, sir.
I have one more thing that got me so worked up there. I forgot what it was.
I get
Oh, did you guys decide we were gonna have a community lunch, picnic type
Wait.
thing? Was there a date on that?
Judge Vandemore is working on that. He's kind of heading that up. He sent me an email the other day. They haven't narrowed down the date yet, but he is working on that. So we are going to have a community picnic headed up by Judge Vandemore and some other department heads, and I think Sheila's gonna cook a bunch of food. And Paula, she's gonna make a bunch of stuff.
Michelle?
She's already on it, like a hobo and a ham sandwich. She's already got this in her mind what she's gonna, but yeah, we are having a community picnic. Remember the ones we used to have?
Yeah.
We had a good time.
I don't want to get in front of the judge here, but September 6th, eat a free lunch and
Chicken
watch the chicken
Sunday.
chugging would
Chicken
that'd be right up my alley too. So just a suggestion, that's all I got.
Chicken chucking. I can't, that's great. Yes, Greg?
Good news, just notified we got community crossing.
Good deal. How much we get? $1.50?
Yeah, we got everything we asked for, so it's like, almost 1.5 million.
Well, praise God.
Looks like you asked for enough.
Just short of 1.5 million.
You know, the Bible tells you 8 times, you have not because you ask not. So ask for all of it and see what you can get. Amen. That's good news. Glad to hear that. Jack, anything else, buddy? Any other department heads? Oh, yes. Are you department head? No.
Oh, no.
Elected officials, is what I can say.
Yeah.
I just want to commend you guys on how you have dealt with the shooting ordinance. I really, really appreciate you looking at both sides and talking with, all parties and everything, and having the county's safety involved, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
you. With that being said, oversight.
Maybe a cookie will help you remember.
With that being said, and people like it or they don't like it, I'm not politically correct. But I trust in God. I lean on the Bible teachings to help guide me in my decision making. Dave does too, and some of the public does. Whether you do or you don't, it's irrelevant. But my hat's off to the public. Sometimes you don't get near as much credit as you deserve. Yeah, we get a lot of complaints. There's keyboard warriors out there and stuff like that. You know what? Stuff like that doesn't concern me. What concerns me is what comes to this meeting. And department heads, Jack White, Paulie showing up, Greg, the auditor, she's writing this. You me slow down a little bit? She's writing as fast as she can. Is that shorthand? 2 X's and all, that means love you, hugs and kisses, ain't it? So, anyway, but thanks to the department heads and elected officials, the appointed people, Newhar, actually, she's thinking, dear God, how long we got set in these meetings? And we're hoping that these meetings will finally shorten up here sometime. But it's important that everybody has a voice.
That's right.
And you get to speak, good, bad, or indifferent. And so my hat's off to the public that's been showing up and to the public that's listening right now. Communication is the key. And it's the only way we're going to move forward is to keep talking to each other. We may not like what we say all the time, but you know what? Food brings people together. I'll tell my wife to beef it up in the next meeting, So, thank you, Paulie, for that comment. I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
Auditor's comments.
Intertech
Oh,
contract.
yeah, thank you. We have a contract here for Intertech. They're our local, kill all the bugs around people. I don't have any problem with Intertech. I've not had any issues with them. Anybody here had any issues with Intertech? The bug people? That's not nice. Termite and pest control people. Kind of selfish about this. This is what my dad did when he was alive. He had the pest control business. His brother had the termite business. And I kind of, when I look at it.
Suck too many fumes.
Yeah, suck too many fumes. So anyway, the contract is pretty self-explanatory. I make a motion that we accept the Intertech contract for the county, countywide.
I'll second that.
All in favor, 2-0. Motion been passed, accept the Intertech contract. Auditor, anything else?
I just want to say thanks to all the employees and the department heads and elected officials. An extra special thank you to Shelley for getting us through payroll. Hopefully, everybody gets paychecks tomorrow. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but we got through it and gonna move forward.
Yeah, and then, if anybody can provide any assistance, I sent an email. I think most people got what I responded back to. She was down couple people sick and stuff, and down a payroll clerk. And if anybody's got any input or any help that they can provide to her, please help her. And if anybody's available next week to move furniture, don't everybody leave at once. We got some furniture to move. We'll get it all done in one day. It'll happen all in one day. So if we got any able-bodied people that might be able to spend a couple hours moving some furniture, give it Jack. Sorry, Jack. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. You didn't have the right people asking, I guess. So we want to get.
About 3 laborers.
Do we know?
He's just kidding, I'm not trying to do that.
I I just had to throw you.
There's 73 people.
I'd like to do this next Thursday, move all the furniture next Thursday, get your stuff moved, get your stuff moved, get your stuff moved, get that room cleaned out, you know, so let's do Thursday morning at 9 o'clock. I'd say we should be done by noon. The maintenance gentleman, what's his name? Steve. He's got a lift gate truck. Put it on a lift gate, take it down there and move it and stuff like that, but many hands make light work. And I'm not picking up a desk, not.
We'll send our lift gate truck too.
Thank you, so. Anybody, Ashley, you're,
Come on, Ashley. Here's an update.
I haven't quit yet.
Well, that's a good thing.
I also have not got fired. Yeah. But they still got it.
well, appreciate you. Dude, I don't know you, but, look forward to working with you. Well, you can work with the advisory board if they need anything, they come to me, so it's all gonna be good. The attorney, he got hungry and left. Commissioners, you got anything, sir?
I'll just say that I went out and I've talked to several people about the roads, went to their houses and so forth. And I've told them, we're not gonna fix this road until the ditching's done, trees are cut back, because it's just wasting their money. And I have never had one of them bark back yet about that. So they do understand that it's gonna take some time, but at least we're starting. They're gonna see an end result, it's just gonna be a while. So, but I wanna thank all the people in Owen County for that, though.
I was asked, and it's kind of funny, you know, because you gotta laugh to keep them crying. I was asked, when I was gonna have my road resealed. And I said, well, I haven't spoken to Greg about that yet. You know, I was trying to provide some humor, and the person didn't think it was very funny. And they said, well, I expect you're gonna get your road resealed and everything done on your road where you live. And I said, well, I pray about it, I hope I do. And that didn't settle very well either. And so I finally enlightened them. I live in town. That's the town's business, not the county. And, you know, lo and behold, she hung up on me. So with that being said, I just, you know, some people, perception against reality. People perceive things to be a certain way, in reality, it's not that way at all. So communication's the link. Anybody else? Paulie? Yeah? Oh, boy.
It's me. Back. I'm back. Hey, so I've gotten some instruction to set up some CPR training for county employees.
Yeah, where was you?
13th and 14th is the days that I was told that we've set those days. I asked Sheila about it. Who do I bill for this? And before you say, well, you're a county department, we're not charging to put the class on at all, but we have to pay American Heart Association $10 per card to.
Just bill the commissioner. We're gonna pay for it.
There's a CPR training fund. Do you know where that money came from?
Wow.
CPR training fund is a fund that we've set up at the EMS. So when we put on classes, we charge a couple dollars more than what the card charge, than what we have to pay for the card. And then that money builds up and we replenish our supplies. Because like with the pocket mask that you use to breathe into people's, you have a little one-way valve that
Sure.
You put in that pocket mask. It costs us $1, and you can't use that same valve from person to person to person. I mean, nobody in here would want to take a classes and use a valve that someone else has already had their mouth on. So, so yeah, that's what. So that's what that fund is for, is to buy supplies, and, you know, like, hopefully we can still continue to build that fund up to where when we need batteries
Sure.
for the mannequins or whatever, we use those funds. So, but yeah, I was just curious, we've got all that we've got a spreadsheet set up with everybody that responded to me's names, put them in a class, but I didn't know what we were gonna do on charging for the cars.
Bill us to it. I know you had to leave a while ago, but I think, quote me, that all department heads and they're like chief deputies or second in command, they need to go first to get that done. But is that what you've done? But
That's what I've done.
by the end of the year, we'll send out another email that, you know, I'll make it mandatory.
Well, I mean, that's.
I don't want to, I want people to be able to, I don't feel like they're mandated to do stuff, but I think everybody needs to be CPR and AED certified. And like I said earlier in the meeting, by the end of the year, every county employee will be AED or CPR certified.
Okay.
Now, if department heads and elected officials or appointed people don't jump on the bandwagon right out of the gate to support this that you're doing, all you gotta do is tell me.
Well, we didn't get response from every department that I sent out to, so, I mean, but we've got enough to put 8 people in 2 classes, one class on the 13th, one on the 14th, so. I can send out another.
Would you please send out another email and tell them their perspective on this, just because you never know when you're gonna be needed. Send it back out to everybody again, put the dates on and the times, then hopefully that will fill up a little more. Then if it doesn't, if it looks like, well, people's like, well, I just don't wanna go to it, guess what? By the end of the year, you're gonna go to it.
Well, all right.
Okay.
That's up to you, I'll just.
I think everybody needs to do it. Everybody needs to know.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I had a question back here.
I was just gonna ask him, did we just email you the 2 names that we got
Yeah,
it?
that'd be fine, then I'll slide you into one of the classes and,
Okay.
so, yeah. All right.
Do you have my name on that list? Because the email situation right now has me a little stressed out.
Yeah. I think I've got you and Ryan.
Ryan, okay.
Well, now that the department head's here, you know what the times and dates are and stuff like that, so take it on to your team, your staff and stuff, let everybody know, spread the word.
Okay. All right,
Sounds good, thank you, sir.
all right, thank you.
I'm done, I've said all I need to say, I've already lost another bet of food, so, anybody else got anything? I make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion adjourned, thank you.